Hello, and welcome to what is the show? Illuminated Page. Sorry, I heard my voice and I got confused. Welcome to Illuminated Page. My name is Rue Thompson, and I am your keeper for the evening. Thank you so much for joining us on Illuminated Page Horror on the Orient Express, our weekly Pulp Cthulhu shenanigans. Tonight, as always, I am joined by this cadre of amazing players and improv artists and gamers and whatever they ascribe to be and aspire to be. Um, so let me introduce them to you because they're far more interesting than I am. Tonight I will start with Allah. Please tell us about you and your character.
All right. Hello, everyone. I am Ala. You've probably seen me on at least one other show. And I am playing Emily Bront, who is a veteran of the Great War and is attempting to keep the party from spending all of their money frivolously.
What do you mean frivolously? What does that mean?
Oh, you'll find out. And next in my list I have Alyssa.
Hey everybody, I am Alyssa. I play Cleo Dandridge, who is the group's occultist who tries to keep people from unnecessarily touching things.
I feel like there's a theme here about certain types of
Adventurous young ladies. Those are the words you're looking for.
Is that it? You know, I didn't want to say babysitters, but I feel like there's a theme of don't do that.
For the record, I'm the only one that doesn't want to touch the train.
This is true. But you did bring it back to your house.
Yeah, that was a mistake. I know that was a mistake. I just couldn't think of anything else. Whatever.
That's
too
fine.
late now.
That's fine. And next on my list, I do have, since we're talking about Johanna anyway, Matt, please tell us about you and Johanna.
I am playing Countess Johanna Elisabetha Fredrika von Bernaldi Stad, the not heir of her father's fortune. And she is fantastic and a very smart lady.
And after that, last but certainly not least, we have in the purple gutter punk shirt, reporting to us live from Houston, Texas, Sean.
Hey everybody, I'm playing Kelsey Haskins. Maybe the party's strong arm, or at least security expert.
You didn't use the quotes.
No, I didn't use the quotes this time.
You didn't say locksmith this
time. I didn't say locksmith.
I mean, potato.
Yeah.
Right. And I think you and Emily split the strong arm. I'm pretty sure Emily's gonna like do some damage
yeah.
to somebody eventually.
Not if nobody sees it. Which is exactly how she preferred to keep it, though.
Well, there we go. Espionage in the way of violence. Um, let's see here. So, before I get too far into this eldritch tale, I have to say that we do have a few shows this week that we would love for you to also join us on. Tomorrow night we have The Voyages of continues. I think it's episode 19.
Yep, and this will be Judgment Enforced, and we'll have a special guest, Monica, who will be joining us. Monica's been on some other stuff on the channel, on the show, or the channel. I had it right the first time.
Yeah.
But it'll be a fun, fantastic story that actually is helping culminate a larger storyline that's going on.
Ooh.
Fantastic. Yeah. Earlier in the season, I believe there was an episode called Judgment Pronounced. And
Yeah.
now we have
It's as though I
Judgment
wrote them
Enforced.
together.
Yeah, Monica's great, friend of the channel. I met her a couple years ago on Instagram. There's a lot of people I've met on social media on this channel. So, if you hit me up on social media, you might find yourself in front of a camera if I can finagle and beg you to join us. But yeah, Monica, she and I met on Instagram. We were both doing DDP yoga. So for any of you old school wrestling fans, that remember Diamond Dallas Page, he has a Nacho Mama's Yoga program that is actually pretty fun and pretty accessible. And that's what we met through hashtags. Things happened, followed each other. Now we're here. She's great. She was on our Fallout Seriously Let's Play that Matt ran back in October, I think. And then I think she was on another Seriously Let's Play, but I could be wrong. It doesn't matter. She's been on some other things. But yeah, she's great to have around. I'm looking forward to that. Who's GMing tomorrow night? Is that you?
That is me.
Okay, and Matt will be running that game. So that's tomorrow night. The Voyages of a Star Trek Adventures playthrough tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. On Tuesday night, we have episode 6 of our By Leaps and Bounties 7th C2nd Edition playthrough, which has been a really good time. We've had really good audience participation for that show as well. That'll be Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and that's run by Danielle Delisle. And Ala and I are both players on that, as well as John and our friend Michael. And we're all just a bunch of, we all took a bath together last week. That was exciting. So,
Episode.
pirates and shit. So what happens? Then on Thursday, we have Ninja Crusade 2nd Edition. We'll be coming back with that, hopefully with a full cast. Our ninjas, our teen ninjas, are getting into some trouble, as they happen to do quite often. But they've also showed themselves quite diplomatic and are making some strides toward securing themselves a position in the government as trusted advisors and informants. So who knows what's going to happen there. And then I think we don't have anything Sunday, right? Am I right? I don't think we have anything Saturday. That's the day I meant. We'll be back here on Sunday. So that's our schedule for the coming week. Please join us for those. Again, I want to thank my players. I want to thank John behind the computer over here running the stream, interacting with all you lovely viewers. Get your bingo cards ready, because we're going to dive in to Horror on the Orient Express, the continuation of Chapter 1, called Dancers in an Evening Fog. So last week, if I may recapitulate, as I like to say, our investigators started out, we had Kelsey and Emily going to the house of Henry Stanley, a local Londoner who had bought a train set from the Crescent Treasury, which is a store owned by, it's kind of a touristy kitschy shop, but they sell a lot of like Turkish imports and things like that, and Arabic imports, owned by Mehmet Makriyet, the store that y'all had investigated on the down low the night before. But yes, Mr. Stanley had bought a train from there and then went missing under very suspicious circumstances. As such, this drew the attention of our investigators, and the two of them kind of went to the home, took some samples of evidence, or collected what evidence they could, came back to our other pair, where did you guys go?
We were at the reading room.
Library. You're at the reading room when a very tragic event happened. Namely, they found a flayed body of a poor Richard Wentworth, uh, who you may learn more about today. We'll see. We'll see if you read the paper. Hint, hint, hint. Read the paper. Um, about Richard Wentworth, and who was just at the reading room. Nobody knows how he got there or when he showed up, but his body was just there, a cadaver, skinless from the face down, and wrapped in a coat and clothes, and just propped up on some books. So it's a bad day to be a reader, quite frankly. So if you ever wanted a reason not to read books, kids, got one. Um, I don't condone not reading. Read your books. So yeah, following that, they went and the whole group went and investigated the local train spotting organization. Went to talk to their president to see the toy model that was a model of the 1897 London Liverpool Express, or at least part of it, as historically that train was derailed in a tragic event that the front half was never recovered, and this model only depicts the front half. And this is all associated with the cult and a Randolph Alexis and his son Albert. Albert? I think it was Albert. And now this poor Mr. Henry Stanley has gone missing. And in their inestimable judgment, the party decided to bring this toy train into their home where they're all staying at the house of Rinaldi Stod. And we're debating over whether or not, or what, pray tell, they wanted to do with it next. So let's rejoin them in that moment. Actually, like I said, I may just want to know if you guys aren't going to do anything with it tonight, what are you going to do to prep yourselves and go to bed, if anything?
I think we're at a point where, um, as the four of us need to have a conversation on whether we're getting on a train and going to Paris, because I don't know that there's much else we can do in London.
So yeah, what are your thoughts on that? You've already been told a couple weeks ago. The Mr. Beddoes gave you £1,000. Said that Professor Smith wanted to fund a journey on the wanted to fund a journey to collect evidence or collect portions of research for this greater work that he'd been trying to accomplish, which was collecting the different parts of the Sedef Cache simulacrum and destroying it in Constantinople. And Beddoes suggested taking the Orient Express, as that's what Professor Smith had intended to do. So, but no movement has really been made on that since. Now, of course, Orient Express leaves from Paris, so you would have to secure passage from England to, or from London to Paris, which is not difficult by any means. So, we'll go ahead and join with you guys while you discuss that.
So I would assume that we brought the train in and kind of propped it up against the track up against the wall in the library. Okay. Assume there's a wall in the library. It's my house. I decided that. And then just kind of like take an evening cocktail, like just some light drinking while we talk about this. So, Cleo, the train set, you can. Are we sure that will be inert this evening?
Oh. I would hope. Excuse me. I would hope, but I can't guarantee. My assumption is that it would not spring to life without someone's intention of making that happen. But I can certainly try to do certain protections around it and around us before we go to sleep if we're gonna just leave it.
I would say that short of the train, it's the train set itself, we have kind of exhausted our investigation ability here. Does that seem fair from everyone else's view?
I agree.
She'll look over at Emily and Kelsey.
I'm not there yet.
Oh, I would have waited for you to get here.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely
cool.
Waited for you to get here. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like everything's dead end here, unless we want to find out what happened to poor Mr. Stanley.
Perhaps that's not the best word.
That is too soon. Too soon. Everything is not dead here. Just a few people.
I do not agree with these unnecessary pursuits. But if that is what the Fraulein wishes, that is what we will do.
Perhaps we can spend tomorrow. Emily and I can set up travel arrangements, and Cleo, you can do a little bit of investigation on the train. I don't know how much more we can do, and I would rather not turn it on in the house.
Not in the house, no.
Good.
That would be preferred, yeah.
And also, if we're going to turn it on, I would like to make sure that anyone in my employment that isn't one of the four of us be outside of the house, with the least amount of danger to them.
And we're not expecting it to, I don't know, burst into flames or whatever it does.
I don't know what it could do, but it can't do it to them if they're not in the same room, is what it seems like. The more distance we have is more my concern.
I mean, what it did to his apartment was definitely strange, and I'm not sure how. That's mainly why I wanted to turn this on. I want to see what it does, because what it did in that apartment does not make sense. And I agree, not in here, because
I don't need smoke damage.
Or
I would suggest taking it outside to a fairly remote location where it may not bother anyone but us.
Does it matter on time of day when we do this? I mean, would it be better to do it during the daylight, at night?
I don't know.
Is there a correlation? Do we know what time the actual train derailed in general?
I don't think it ever says.
That's fair.
But just to curb speculation, I'm going to say that it happened during the day.
Perfect. Okay. To curb speculation, or to curb concern, I'm not sure that the actual train's derailment corresponds with Mr. Stanley's disappearance. At least not the time. One was in the evening and one was in the day, if I remember the news article on the train.
Yeah. Another thing you do remember, because you guys got some really seriously good rolls last week when you were inspecting the train itself. Just a second. Excuse me. But so I'm going to go ahead and tell you that, because you do remember that you saw interesting symbols carved on the cars themselves, or etched into the materials of the cars themselves. I'm going to say that your speculation, Cleo, and those of you that, and probably Johanna, as you looked at those symbols, has more to do with whatever those symbols are evoking than necessarily correlating to any other real life event. This is doing something different. That's, it's trying to, you don't know what it's trying to do, but you don't think it really has to correlate to that. That's just what the maker of the train chose to do, because that's what he was so focused on reattaining. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
It does.
Mm-hmm.
So, so the train is propped up in a room. You've left it alone. Doors shut. Staff informed in any way?
It sounds like we're taking the train away from here to turn it on, so I don't know that we need to let them know to just leave it alone. Don't touch it.
Okay. That's a good
No
thing to say, because I had a staff member ready to go pick up your toys, and so so do you do that tonight, or do you want to wait till tomorrow to do that?
I think we wait till tomorrow. It's pretty late, isn't it? Didn't we?
Yeah, it was in the evening. It was well into the evening when you guys got back with it.
And who wants to explain to some nosy police officer what we're doing, hauling around a train set in the middle of the night to some park?
Rich people.
Easy explanation.
right?
When do you
Trying to
get off your
commune with the
trains?
train.
Yeah.
Before we get too much farther, can we do a luck advance maybe?
Yes, we can. I was going to do that. I remembered. I kind of was like, oh, but you guys were already talking, and I didn't want to interrupt. So yes, go ahead. Roll a normal luck advance where you roll your D100. When you roll
Oh, that's
above
right.
your current luck amount, then you can roll a D6. Now, if the chat grants you a luck advance, that's just a free D6 roll. I'm gonna start making you guys roll it the real way.
We still have 3.
A good time to roll a
extra
99.
ones.
Ooh.
Do we? Okay.
And then Cleo has 3 personal rerolls.
That's
Chat
right. I
grants
should
us.
probably
I thought I had 2.
Yeah, there was another one purchased.
3 table rerolls. Cleo has
Oh.
2.
one. Oh, is it 2?
Revna's saying 2.
Yeah, she just bought one. Revna did.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool. So, and that's for Cleo specifically?
Yep.
Yeah, but the table still has 3 rerolls, and then we still have 3 luck advances.
Thank you for that purchase, whoever purchased that. Someone just
It
said
was
it
Revna.
Thanks, Rev.
We appreciate it. Well, I mean, Cleo appreciates it. If she doesn't get us killed with a bad roll, we'll all appreciate it.
That's absolutely right. So there are 3 table rerolls, that's correct?
Yep.
Yes. All right, I'm just adding to the, I'm just correcting my little shit here. All right, there we go. Got those exclams working. You guys, if you haven't watched our Tuesday night show, I have a lot of fun on the Tuesday night show, and we have a brand new exclam command for every time our pocket NPC cries. So
Actually, when you use the exclaims that soon after one another, it doesn't kick. So it didn't actually kick that third.
oh, did it not take it? Yeah. I need to see if I can change the cooldown on.
Having watched 1/7C episode so far, Charles crying is pretty funny.
It is a good time. It's a good
Look,
time.
he's a sensitive cinnamon roll, and we must protect him.
He is. I honestly think he's being manipulated. Anyway, it doesn't have anything to do with this show. That's our show on Tuesday, so I hope I've piqued your interest. Come join us on Tuesday. See how many times Charles cries. Use that exclaim command, and yeah, just watch us get up to some pirate shit. So, but back to this show. So, you guys are going to go ahead and bed down for the evening, correct?
Yep,
You've told the
Cleo would
staff-
do some protective stuff
Sure.
around the train and then around anybody's bed or room. who
Just for
wants it.
some, kicks and giggles. Can you give me an occult roll?
I sure can.
Can I watch intently while she does it?
Okay, creep. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Like, listen, at this point, there's magic trains. I don't care anymore. I
don't care. That's fine. That's fine.
That is a 1.
Ooh.
You did exceptionally well. Yeah, so you guys feel like super protected, like a weird warm calm washes over you all. You don't know if it was something in the drink that the countess gave you or what, but yeah, you're pretty confident like that thing ain't going to kick on.
That was some
Nobody's
good
going to
brandy.
touch that. Everything is great. We're going to figure out all this stuff. We're going to get all them parts of that statue. We're going to go destroy that motherfucker. And we're going to be peace to the world. Like, we're going to stop wars. Like, that's how protected and safe you all feel. in this moment after, and Countess, you're like, wow, that was enlightening. You had a real moment there where it was like, I know, I'm confident I could do that if I needed to.
Excellent.
So you might have to ask about like what kinds of like implements she specifically used, if there was a specific type of chalk or something like that. But other than that, you're like, wow, this was a great learning experience, and you felt like you were being taught by a master of the occult arts.
She just went and got the iodized salt and just poured it around the train. That's all she did.
Some Mortons, it's just
Works every time.
Fine.
And she's just like, I love this girl in the red raincoat. Or in the yellow raincoat, and she just pours out some salt. So next morning, probably not bright and early, but bright and mid-morning, you all kind of come to and roll out of bed, and feel pretty confident that things are great still. You still have that warm sense of safety and security. You've almost forgotten that your friend's home was burned down with him in it the other day. And, that's only been 2 days ago. so,
A lot has happened.
a lot has happened this week. In fact, as this is the 9th now, so is
It's
that
a Tuesday.
Tuesday. So yeah, so we have finally in 6 weeks gotten to Tuesday of the second week of after starting on Monday last week.
It's a week per day. It's fine.
That's fine. That's fine. Um, so yeah, so what would you all like to do this morning?
I
I'm
would
gonna-
like to set up transportation from here to the docks in Southampton, and from Southampton to the docks in whatever city on the north of France that we need to get to a
Okay.
train to take us to Paris.
Sounds good.
And by set that up, what I mean is I'm going to ask one of the people that works for me that's not Amelia to do that. Just for the record, I'm not doing it myself.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Emily thinks this is great growth on her part.
To take the initiative to tell somebody else to do it instead of telling you to tell them.
Yes, exactly. And whereas Emily sits back and enjoys her morning tea or coffee, whatever we have available, and reads the papers.
Give me a spot hidden. Anybody who's reading the papers.
And it's a regular success.
Nothing.
Fantastic. Nothing? Okay. Headline on the Times is Committee on War Reparations. Germany must feel pain. So you can tell that there's some shit brewing. Emily may have other feelings about that, but that is what the Times is saying. You also, as you're going through, you see a small news item about the Woven Wick, which is a familiar occult bookstore that the Countess has frequented.
I thought that was called the Illuminated Page.
Oh, was it called the Illuminated Page? That's
Yeah,
fine.
I thought so.
That might have been. It's been long enough since we had the discussion about the name, but Illuminated Page works. It makes sense. It's a little homage to this little show that we like to do here. And the Illuminated Page, it's mentioned in the paper as having burned down the night before. So quite a fire. The body of the shop owner was found. Not a lot of details given, but the word gruesome does pop up. So it's just a shame. But that bookstore has stored its last book.
Does anyone did Emily? Do you mention that?
Yeah. But is this not the place that you used to like to go? By your...
Yes, it is. It's not far from here. I would like to contact the owner, and we don't need to roleplay this, and just offer him money to get started again.
I believe they said his body was found.
I misheard
dead.
that. I would like to not do that then.
That's something that your money can't cure.
Yeah.
Leo's like, I could probably set that up, but
Not according
Not in the
to
way you
Dr.
think.
Frankenstein. We still got chances.
And the paper talks about the smell of charred wood and so much tallow from all the candles that he was trying to sell for seances, and all the
I feel
herbs
bad now
going
that we
up.
didn't buy candles.
He has no use for money. You do take note that usually the paper likes to show pictures of things, but they did not show a picture of his body, and they just said that it was too gruesome to share.
I'm gonna walk in and overhear them discussing that, and I'm gonna be, so are we gonna chalk that up to coincidence or candles in a bookstore? Are we going to look at the fact that whoever burnt down the professor's house probably is cleaning up loose ends right now?
That is very likely. If we are leaving town, I will encourage the staff to seek employment elsewhere.
It sounds like a good reason to leave. And don't encourage too much of the staff. We need Olivia. She needs to come with us.
Of course.
Which one is Olivia?
But the ones that would be staying behind to watch
She's
the
just
home.
the maid. She's a lady's
Okay.
maid. That's all she does.
Okay.
Yeah, because wasn't most of the staff kind of temp hired anyway?
I'm not making my own tea.
Well, Of course not. Of course not. With the paper, you did notice as you unfurled the paper this morning, Emily and Johanna, a free paper from the what looks like, based on the filigree on the front and everything, it seems like it's claiming to be from the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. And it's like, we hear you have interest, and it's this, and you get down, and you realize that this is probably not how the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn tends to do business, or tends to recruit new members. But and as you get through it, you kind of realize there's a little fine print that says from the official support club of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, where they have heard that you have interest and are trying to see if you would like to join their organization. You can send your fee of £15 yearly membership to an address in North London if you would like to join.
Wait, did she get an advertisement for the fan club?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, there's literally, you can go to like Illuminati.com and join the Illuminati's. It's allegedly the Illuminati, and you can get on their mailing list. And yeah, there's like a handwritten note on this pre-printed pamphlet that says, whatever the bookstore owner's name was, said that you were interested in getting in touch. And that came in with the paper.
Well, if that is not motivation enough to get out of town, I don't know what is.
Yeah, now you're just going to get spam. Every few days, you're just going to get some fan club spam.
Do not call list.
Other than getting us our travel, I'm set. Oh, and packing. Well, Olivia will do that.
So the train is still in a room up in your upstairs.
Cleo is spending the morning sort of getting any items that they would need together if they are going to take it out and turn it on. And she's also trying to go through some of her books, trying to find anything that looks like these runes or these symbols or whatever is on the train.
Okay, fantastic. What sources... So you're looking through books that you have access to already, and probably...
I mean, she would look
Johanna's
through some of the books that
occult
she
library.
brought, and also the occult library, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Oh, I also wanted to say, with your spot hidden on the morning paper, you do find a little bit more out about Richard Wentworth, the poor man, the poor cadaver that was found yesterday at the reading room. He, by all accounts, nobody understands why this heinous event happened. There is a brief, kind of a snapshot of his life, and it turns out he was actually a student of Mr. Smith's, which is the only tie to you or the case at hand that you can find.
How long, or like a current student, or
current student? Yes.
Do you share that, Emily?
You know what? Maybe not, but Emily's going to file it away in the extra security she's really glad we paid for. And probably she's going to get the staff to not only find safe lodgings elsewhere and write them letters of recommendation, everything elsewhere, but also to get maybe like a lockbox somewhere for any valuables that are in the house that we're not taking with us, like the Countess's library and next season's dresses.
Real quick player question. So the original student that was the Fez boy, that was not a student of Professor Smith. That was a student of his associate, correct?
Yes.
That was a student of Professor Demir in Constantinople.
Right.
And
okay, cool. I just
who had been assisting with the research about the Brothers of the Skin, and got kind of obsessed with the Fez and finding it to destroy it. And he went out to London to kind of hunt it down.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I had my...
Yeah, no, Richard Wentworth, by all accounts, seems to have probably been an innocent bystander. Perhaps even selected only because of his association with Professor Smith.
Sending a message. Yeah. All right, cool. I'm going to go stare at the train.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead and give me another occult roll, Cleo, on as you are looking for information on those symbols.
That is a regular success.
Okay. Some of the symbols you are having a hard time finding too much about, but in looking at some of the occult books that Johanna has and that you have quite a fairly thorough uh, pool to pull from as far as resources. Some of the things that you start to get into, you actually find that it's talking about things like doorways, portals, gates. Um, and what was it a hard success or a regular success?
It was regular.
Regular success. Um, yeah, there's just like it reminds you just in a very little bit of what Professor Smith might have been interested in looking into. But you're not entirely sure how any of it functions. You just see that some of those symbols in that are groupings of those symbols may point to some type of doorway or gate creation, stuff like that.
Is Cleo doing this research in the library, or are you doing it in your own private room?
She's probably doing it with the train so that she can have the symbols in front of her. So wherever we put the train, if we left it in the library,
It's in
if
the
that's
library,
yeah, then that's where she is.
And as you're working on this, and Kelsey, you said you were in there looking at the train at all, are you pushing the train around the track? Are you doing anything like that? Or are you just literally picking it up and looking at it, or studying it without touching it? What are your how are you doing it?
Who, me personally?
Yeah, you.
So I am. So I mean, the train's mounted to the track, correct? So it's not like we can pick it up, can we?
You can't. Yeah, you can't pick it up. It just fits on the track.
Okay. I'm not sure I want to touch it because I don't know. Kelsey's walking a really fine line, trying to figure out what we saw in the apartment and trying to make sense of a toy train doing that. So I'm taking looking at the track, seeing how it runs, trying to kind of map it out in my mind to see if there's anything that matches what we saw in the apartment. Was there a way that while it was going around the train, did smoke come off of it in parallel lines? And worst comes to worst, I may give it a little nudge to see what happens because
Okay.
it's not a ghost train.
Sure. Okay.
Not turning it
But
on.
yeah,
I just
you
wanna give it
don't
a
you
little
don't turn
push.
it on. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You don't really notice anything. It just looks like a toy train. Honestly, it looks pretty innocuous.
Are we sure this is
Give it a
necessary?
spin.
Let's just turn it on.
But outside, please.
We're not turning it on here.
They're
Let's
gonna
get
take it outside.
Yeah, let's take it outside.
There might be a risk of fire. So
No, I don't disagree with that. I want to know why.
Cleo will, by the way, share the pieces that she has found on like doorways and portals and sort of say, I can't make out exactly what it is, but that's generally what it's pointing to.
Okay,
Is
so
that
if it is a
this-
doorway, can we maybe get what was his name? I said it earlier, Mr. Anders? No.
Stanley?
Yeah. Can we get Stanley back if we run it? If it's a doorway?
Potentially? It depends. It depends what his current status is. Physically, spiritually.
Kelsey just kind of raises an eyebrow, like trying to rationalize it.
Sorry, I just remember you guys saying you look at it real close to see if you can see faces screaming in the windows.
From the last, yeah.
Reminds me of my favorite horror movie.
How long has Mr. Stanley been dead?
Well, he's been missing since Friday night
So, like, the weekend.
or Saturday night.
Yeah, we don't know he's actually dead.
9th,
He's
8th,
just run
7th.
off.
It was the paper on the 7th that said he'd been missing since Saturday night.
Okay.
I really need to get. We were early enough in the campaign before that I was like, I don't need the calendar yet, and I'm gonna have to start. I've been wanting to make like a little date book of what you guys did on which days. But yeah, so are you taking it outside
Yes.
now while all this other stuff is happening? Are you taking it like out back of your house, or
There's a park that's not far away. I think we take it
Okay.
to the park away from other people and do it there.
okay?
There's a park that's not far away. I think we take it to the park and do it there.
I agree.
The
Oh.
worst thought when you said take it to a park, I'm like, oh, cool. We'll just find some random kid, have him turn it on while we stay in way back.
Hey, this is just- listen,
Evil.
the Brits were on the other side of the war. They know what they did.
Boo. So yeah, I'm gonna say that for travel, and I should have said this yesterday. I'm gonna say that the train has like a little case that you can fit it in, and then you carry the board with the track separate. The book is really not clear. Like they make it sound like people just towed it around. Because Stanley brought it home by himself, but then they're like, the board is so heavy that it takes multiple people to carry it. I'm like, well, then what the?
Which is how we actually transported it.
Yeah, it's
It's
just
just
carrying it
carry
flat.
this board.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna say that due to lack of cohesive information, the train has a nice little case that Butters fitted it into. You know, just maybe like with a foam cutout, that the pieces of car and things are kept nice, and then you can carry the board out. The track is mounted to the board itself, and remember there is that handkerchief on the bottom of the board with the initials in the corner.
Mhm.
Did we ever look under the handkerchief?
No, I think we just noticed that it had the initials that was kind of creepy.
Is it tacked down in such a way that we can't see underneath it?
Oh no, not at all.
Oh, and there's nothing underneath it.
There's nothing underneath it, yeah. Presumably, it looks like somebody attached it there, so whatever it sat on top of,
It would stay solid and not
it
move.
would stay solid, and it would also, maybe not scratch or mar the surface it's set onto.
So yeah, we'll head over to the park and stand back while Cleo turns on the train.
Cleo will again set up her circle around the train and herself. And if everybody else is backing away,
Maybe stand to the side, like where it wouldn't. I guess where the train wouldn't hit you if it's going in that particular direction. Like off to like a side.
Yeah, you
The-
do remember that it was northeast
Yeah.
to southwest, I believe was the direction. Maybe
Yeah.
vice versa. Maybe it was northwest to southeast. Whichever
It-
direction, honestly, between London and Liverpool, I think it's
Northwest
I
to
think-
southeast.
I think it's northwest to southeast. So
Yeah.
just be aware that you did see multiple instances of evidence that might indicate that it's going that direction.
will specifically not turn it on in the opposite side.
With that
in
little
the opposite
compass.
direction.
Verify.
Is it Ghostbusters when the guy is standing on tracks and the ghost train comes through him and he's just on the tracks shaking like that?
I think it's the second one, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a very vivid memory. So, okay. So, let's see here. Let me reacquaint myself briefly. Yeah. So, you turn it on?
Yep, as she is removing it from the case that it was in, she specifically takes out like one of her not her dad's handkerchief, but like a handkerchief. It's like she sets it down. Everything that she does is not physically touching it.
Okay. Okay.
She has a barrier. But
Cool,
yes, she is going to
cool.
turn it on after she sets up her circle and everything.
Sure.
Like,
Okay, cool. So,
is there like a little switch on top that you turn it on for the battery, right?
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna hand Cleo like it's not extremely long, but it's like a lockpick. It's far enough so she doesn't have to touch it with her bare hand.
It's like those toys where you flip the switch and a little arm comes out and turns it back off. Just little. Okay, so yeah, you turn it on. Woo woo! Train goes around this weird little track. boo boo, and it goes on. After about 26 circuits of the track, you start to feel a rumble under your feet. There is a horrendous sound. Have you ever been near a tornado, near enough to a tornado to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a roaring train is right next to you. You get a blast of wind. The smell of steam and smoke hits you before you see anything. There is a shimmer in the air, and I'll be damned if a train doesn't just on a shimmering track. A large locomotive bursts through a cloud of steam and stops briefly in front of you. The engine and the coal car pass by before one of the passenger cars stops, and the engine and the coal car or the tender, as they pass, they actually disappear again at a distance. But the train does stop, and coming out when the train stops, there is you see people shuffling around on the inside. I do need a sanity roll from all of you.
But why?
Why?
Sanity? No.
Oh no. Oh no.
I rolled a 95. That's
What's the rule on ignoring sanity loss? I'll look it up.
I think it's
bad luck,
yeah.
isn't it?
I don't have it in front of me at the moment.
I got it. I'll look it up.
Who failed?
I did.
I did.
You and Sean. Okay, it's just 1d6.
Oh, okay. Now I feel better about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not bad. And for everybody else, you lose 1.
I felt better about that.
Okay, I lost.
Did you lose
2.
all 6?
I lost 5. That was
I lost 2. Can we spend luck to negate that?
Yeah, you can spend either the amount or double the amount. I don't remember. I was looking at that.
Because I'm sitting at 50 sanity. If I can prevent myself losing sanity early on, that would be amazing.
Save it for the more terrifying body horror that's coming.
Yeah.
Cleo, since you unfortunately acted as the summoner, you need to lose 3 magic points.
Okay.
Can we feel that? Can she feel that coming off of her?
I would say so. There is a very distinct pull, and you being an occult specialist, I will say that you feel this in a way, or in a similar way as you have felt like if you have cast spells previously or done some sort of magic working, you feel some of that expense, if that makes sense.
Sean,
Is this like a permanent loss of magic points or like
No.
a temporary loss? Okay.
This is not like off your max. This is just you took 3 hits to your MP.
Did you see in the note in the chat that it's double? Sean.
All right. So, the train is there. You see a train full of people dressed in 1890s garb. They glide off the train as though onto a platform, and you see several of them, and they go, "What time do we reach Liverpool? Where's the conductor? What has been the delay? How has the day become so cloudy and dark? Is another train following? My wife was on that train." And they just kind of like start swirling around you, Chloe, and kind of like water to a drain, and come with us, they start to say to you. And you are you find yourself at this moment a little powerless to resist, as you are now dragged kind of in the press. You are pushed onto the train. I need intelligence rolls from the other 3 of you.
We have a luck advance in the chat.
Okay, roll your d6s first, and then I need those intelligence rolls from y'all.
I got a regular success.
I got extreme success.
I have a hard success.
Okay, Kelsey and Emily, you lose sight of Cleo real fast. Johanna, you are able to keep keep your eyes on Cleo through the press of all the other passengers who are drawing her clearly onto the train. And you also, the two of you that can't keep your eyes on her, you do hear cries for help coming from the second carriage. So when the first carriage came into view, that's when the train stopped. You can see the second carriage, and do you hear those cries of help? Do you look to see if you can see anything, or do you stay where you are and keep your eyes looking for Cleo? I need an answer, guys. Do you look?
Hey, I look.
Okay, you look. Well, you definitely do see Henry Stanley going, ah! And his he looks terrified. Looks otherwise from this distance. Looks like he's right there. You guys have 30 seconds in real time to decide if you're getting on this train with her or if you are letting it go.
I'm gonna
because the train starts to steam and looks like it's getting ready to take off again.
Can I try and pull her out of the crowd?
She is on the train already.
If she's on the train, I'm not leaving.
Yeah,
on the train.
we need to go
we're
get
on
her.
the train.
Okay, you all get on the train? Okay.
I mean, if Johanna's going after her.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's probably on the train trying to like spray people with her Florida water.
Okay, nice.
Does somebody need to
Nice.
stay back to turn on the train again?
You don't have time to decide
Yes.
if you get on the train or not, okay?
Yeah,
What if
on
you
the
just
train.
grab the train and get on?
Jeez.
Well,
Then
then
you
bring the
Close the
train on the
infinite
train.
loop.
So,
Are they substantial, or do they give off like a ghostly like?
they are at least, oh yeah, they don't look see-through, but they look a little drab, a little dull. But they have enough substance to push her on the train. Like when they glided off, it kind of seemed very ethereal. But yeah, so as soon as you guys get on the train, Cleo, you would see that you would have already experienced this. You are immediately not wearing what you were wearing before, and you are in 1890s Victorian garb. You look as though you would have been a passenger on the London-Liverpool Express. I didn't say if it was like feminine or masculine. It could just be
No, she
trousers.
just
and
misses her clothes.
Yeah, she just.
Does she
I already
wait,
missed my
do we have things that like does she have all of her supplies or are they gone? She's like looking.
You still have many of your things. It's just the mode of dress looks different. You suddenly fit in with the crowd that's there. Once you're on the train, the bland and blank faces of the passengers do darken, become very insistent, and they start to try to, as the train pulls out, Cleo, you see their eyes rolling up into their heads, and all you see is the whites of their eyes, and they start to reach out to you. Now, your friends the other three of you got on the train behind the group, so you see this. You see, at this point when you're all on the train, you can see Cleo being kind of backed against the far wall of the first carriage, the far end of it. This is the point at which, Johanna, you could try to go in and get her out
I'm gonna
if you wanted to do that.
I'm gonna take out my knife and slash at people and shove them out of the way to get to her.
Okay, so as you're going through there, you do, Cleo, you see that their skins are bluish and very cold as their hands brush against you. Their hair is matted and very coarse, and their lips, eyes, and nails are unnaturally livid. And they smell strangely of old and wet wood. I need you to go ahead and give me another sanity loss as you hear their clothes scraping against one another and their strange sighs as they kind of press in on you.
Do I need to make
That's a
that
success.
too while I'm pushing through them?
Yeah, and go ahead and just for grins give me kind of a strength check to get through them, because it's kind of like a mosh pit. You know, they're all just kind of...
She is
I-
getting down. She has taken out her flask, is drinking from it, and she is fortifying basically her intention and her will. She is basically creating a wall, like
Okay.
a metaphorical wall.
Can I can I use fighting brawl to get through them?
Sure, absolutely. I'm sorry. Yeah, that would have been a better roll.
Yeah, I failed the sanity check, but I succeeded on my fighting brawl.
Okay, so if you failed the sanity check, it's 1d6. If you succeeded, it's only 1. But you did succeed the fighting roll, you said.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was a regular success.
Fantastic. So you're kind of beating through these people, and you can see that they are very insistent to get to her. You actually, as you approach Johanna, you see that while Cleo is kind of hunkered down drinking her flask, there's like a couple of them that are reaching to pull her flask back, and they're moving in as though they want to, almost like they're going to whisper in her ear, but you get the distinct sense that they are not, it is not going to be something as innocent as that. So you get in there. I'm going to say you grab a hold of her arm if she'll let you. Do you give me an intelligence roll, Cleo, to see if you realize that it's your friend and not one of these creatures reaching for you?
No, that's a fail. I rolled a 91.
Okay, so she's going to kind of
Remember how
fight you
have-
off a little.
Remember how you have rerolls?
You do have
Do you remember
rerolls there, Cleo. Would you like
I'll
to
use
use
one
a
of my.
reroll?
Sure, I'll use one of my rerolls.
But this
Thank
is so
you for
much
the-
more dramatic.
Yeah.
So much more dramatic. I mean, to be
I
fair,
would've-
it's like she is hunkered down.
There would have been a couple, there would have been like a fighting brawl or opposed strength rolls to try to to drag her out of there. And
That's
all
a
while-
49, so that's a regular success.
Okay, so you realize that it's Cleo. You see that the coloring on the skin tone looks much more alive and vibrant than the cold, wet and wooden bodies of these passengers. And you both kind of latch forearms, and Johanna starts to pull you out. Now those passengers are still reaching and trying to claw at both of you. Can I get either fighting brawl or just strength checks from either of you to see if
Can I spend luck to make it a critical success?
sure.
I'll
that's
spend
fine.
1 luck for that.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. This is not technically combat. This is just survival.
That's fair. And then I'm going to call for Emily while I'm doing that too. Just Emily,
Okay.
pull. I don't trust that Kelsey guy. He'll probably stab me or something.
Leo's gonna be like muttering protective
I would
spells,
imagine
like, under her
Emily is
breath.
like right behind Johanna in some capacity anyway.
That's
Okay.
okay.
Trying
Kelsey's
to-
gonna start shooting in about 3 seconds.
That's fair. It's a good
Okay.
idea.
So if you, as you're getting pulled through there, Cleo, you get to both of you, Johanna and Cleo, you get to kind of the edge of where this just mass of people is. Oh, come with us, and reaching towards you. You do hear like a sharp crack, and you almost clearly it's the sound of a door opening behind you, away from the crowd, and there's someone that says, "Through here, quickly! Through here!" And those of you that turn to look, you see the wild eyes of a Randolph Alexis, who you remember from some of the photographs, calling to you and telling you to follow him. Do you follow him?
Yeah.
Not until we get Cleo and.
Well, they're out
Oh,
of
yeah.
the they're
Oh,
out
they're
of the
out?
bodies.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm going to cover everybody as they're going, and I will
Okay.
cover them and be walking backwards, but ready to shoot anybody that rushes towards us.
Okay, yeah, they're still coming, and they're a lot of heavy sighs, almost expectant sighs, as they're reaching for you all.
Leo is like popping a vial of salt and like dropping it.
Okay,
where-
okay,
like,
very good.
in front of them.
So you guys get through. I'm gonna say with that critical success that you managed on pulling her out, there are no grapple checks or anything like that. You guys go ahead and get through the press. You get to the other end of the thing, and you get onto the second carriage. And once you all are on the second carriage, the man slams the door shut, and you can still hear this moaning and sighing and kind of scratching at the walls of these passengers from the first carriage. But they are... go ahead and give me a spot hidden real fast as you guys were going through the door.
Extreme success. That's a 2.
Okay?
Just a regular success.
Okay.
Nope.
Nothing from the two of you? Okay. Funnily enough, what Kelsey and Emily notice as they're coming through the door is once he shuts it, on the inside of the door, there are several strange symbols etched and carved into the door. One of them, the principal symbol among them or sigil is an inverted ankh. And so you all notice this, and then you see the passengers moaning and trying to get through, but they seem to be thwarted by the sigils that are etched upon this door. And once you all have made it onto the train and the door is shut, the man that invited you says, "Welcome to the 9:15 a.m. to Liverpool. Although we are currently running rather late, my name is Randolph Alexis."
Yes, we
The
know.
first words out of Kelsey's mouth is, "What the hell is going on?"
Pretty sure it's exactly what we expected.
Mr. Alexis,
Well-
can I pose a theory on what's going on here?
I mean, of course you can. I will say, as you look at Mr. Alexis, he doesn't seem to have aged very much in the,
30
what
years?
is it, almost 30 years. He wears his original suit that he was wearing when he boarded the train all those years ago, but it
And-
is now...
Is Henry in the
Yeah.
car here
Jan
also?
here with us?
You do not see him right now, but this is the carriage he was on.
I will, Johanna will, straighten her clothes, put away her knife, and wipe off any ghost blood on, the train.
Sure.
Not taking ghost blood with us.
Okay.
Put it away and then say, I believe that your train derailed and through some mystical means was not destroyed, and you found yourself stuck here, and your son attempted to rescue you, and then a Mr. Stanley mistakenly used the same train artifact and found himself here as well. Is that about right?
I mean, possibly. Come on. He kind of, you don't get the impression that he was listening very closely to anything that you were saying. As I said, he's a small man. He's bald-headed. His suit is the same but dirty and worn, and his eyes burn with a feverish intensity. You don't need a psych roll to realize that it seems like this guy is quite off his rocker. He is quite insane. You're not entirely sure what, except for the fact that he's been in some sort of ghost dimension or ethereal dimension. But the passing of time is changed indefinably for him, and it's he's not responding to it very well. But you look around. He kind of motions for you to follow him. He's like, we can talk all about that in a second. And the second carriage looks mostly deserted, dusty, silent. He leads you along the long passageway. And as you kind of glance from side to side into the compartments, all of them are empty until you get down to the last three at the very far end. And you do find in one of those compartments there is shredded clothes, some scattered and gnawed on bones. He kind of, if he notices you looking a little with an eyebrow raised, he kind of shrugs and says, "Well, a man has to eat. If you would
No
like, go
ticket.
ahead. If you would like, you can roll a spot hidden, but you also don't have to. It's up to you."
Well, my spot hidden. There's windows, right?
Yeah.
I want to look. At the window.
There is a strange kind of gray
Is this
light
glow?
coming in.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very gray light. You can't see any scenery out the window or anything. You are in like a strange fog and mist of steam and.
Well, for everybody playing bingo, I failed my spot hidden.
Even with your bonus die?
I rolled 2
Wow,
90s.
okay. Mark your bingo cards, kids. Anybody
Oh,
else?
this is fantastic. We ended up on a train with a cannibal.
I didn't make it.
You
I
didn't
failed.
make it? You failed? Nobody
mine,
succeeded?
Mine is a hard success.
Oh, okay. Well, with that hard success, you do see nearby, near the door, where there's a pile of clothes, there is an engraved pocket watch fob that is engraved with the letters AA. And you take note of that, and you remember that Mr. Alexis had a son named Albert, and you have the sinking feeling and the sneaking suspicion that when Albert boarded the train, perhaps he became a meal for his father.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
It's
In the
so
second compartment.
Shakespearean.
Yeah, in the second compartment near the end. Yeah. How bad did you want to see me, boy? In the
So
second
glad you're
compartment.
here. I'm so happy to meet you.
Yeah. In the second compartment, you do find Henry Stanley, who is
Does he look a little gnawed on?
Oh, no,
Okay,
he's
good.
just, he's like on his knees reaching for you and saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, please get me off this train. I just bought a new toy and I turned on the model and I couldn't get off the train. They tried to kiss me and I don't know. I need to get off this train. Please,
I
please,
thought
thank
you
you
loved
so
trains.
much for coming. This is not the sort of train that I wish to be on. The trains I like
That's
don't have
fair,
passengers.
honestly.
Um,
Well, I think we're stuck on this train just as
Yeah.
you are.
yeah, so, yes, you all gather in this room with Mr. Stanley. As I said, you look out, the universe or the world that you see is not scenic, that's just gray and fogged like photographic plates. You kind of don't really, there's things that pass quickly that appear through the vapors outside, but nothing really definite that you can make out. It as it continues. Let's see, what does it say?
Can we see track out the back?
Mm-mm. It's just the train. Let me see here. What does the book say? This great wad of passage extends as far as the eye can see, in patches that means many or hundreds of miles. As the investigators watch, the doom train palpably moves against the world lines beyond, whose segmented lengths curl in a dark, gigantic serpentine. Like a ticking clock, the doom train lurches forward at regular intervals, and each movement becomes another segment. If you check your watches, however, you will note that the watches have stopped. And Alexis, as he sees you all looking around and kind of contemplating your predicament and watching the world outside, says, well, when we first came, this place was empty of the train. I see now one day when it will all be filled, and there will be no room for more. When will that be? Time is different here. It seems to me no more than a month since I made my great error, and yet my register, he points to the ceiling above, and you see thousands of ticks, like he's been scratching off the days. And yet my register shows so many episodes of long sleep that I calculate confidently the year to be late 1911.
You're off by a couple of years, but that's pretty good.
Give or take a decade, yeah.
Whatever. And Stanley is just like, I'm so glad to see you. I'm so glad to see you. He rattles on and on and on about the incident, which you are actually quite familiar with. You know far more about you can tell him things that have happened in the time since his disappearance. It's only been a few days. Randolph goes on and on about exactly what happened to him. He says, I tried to create a gate to get off the train. I was running from some things, and I made a gate, and it went awry. And this part of the train came with me, and we ended up here.
And the rest of
This
the
is
train
not where I intended to be.
derailed, crashed, and killed people.
Well, I mean, it's not as though I intended that. That really can't be helped at this point.
So who were all the people in the front of the train then?
They were the ones on the front of the train.
Why are they dead?
Well, I mean, some of them were on the train. Others joined the train later. Should they have found their way here? But I mean, I don't know. I don't know how these things work.
Why aren't you like them?
Because I was the one who, I assume, because I summoned the gate.
Did your son begin to turn into that before you ate him?
Who says I ate my son?
Well, someone ate your son. You've been here a
Man
month.
has to eat. I'm just.
Did your son turn into one of those before he passed away? Of no particular reason.
I don't believe so. No.
But he died, and then what killed him?
What?
Being eaten?
Was it a
And he
cannibal?
just kind of.
I'm trying
He
to
just
get
kind
into.
of. He looks at you with just that wild intensity in his eyes. I mean, he just.
Maybe we don't trigger the insane man any further.
Yeah. Oh, let me retcon what I said. Some passengers who had held out for years have now degenerated for unknown reasons. And he's like, I don't know, maybe I will too. I just haven't yet. Clearly, I'm still of all my faculties.
Oh yeah, clearly.
Can you tell us more about this gate that you made? How did you, what were you using to enact it?
I inscribed some sigils in the room and I cast a spell.
Where did you find the sigils?
I am quite knowledgeable and skilled in the arcane arts.
Oh, well.
I am an occultist of some renown. I am a member of multiple magical orders.
Johanna will look over at Kelsey when he goes, whoa, 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 and just like motion, gesticulate to everything going on. Like, really? Like, you don't believe in magic now?
No, I was questioning his master of them arts.
Oh, yeah, okay, now that's fair.
Everyone's a dabbler until they end up in a parallel universe, I suppose.
A doom train.
Could you walk Cleo through your spell and explain what you did?
I mean, I could, but I don't think that would help. The spell that got me here will not be the spell that gets us back, or else I would have done it already.
But
right?
between Cleo and you, and maybe a little bit of help from me,
Well,
maybe we could devise how to get out of here.
I've been working on a way to get back. And he kind of sits forward, his elbows on his knees, and he's like, okay. Now I will tell you this, out of character. The reading of the text, I don't think he knew that his son arrived. His son was a child when he went missing. He did not know that it was his son that arrived, but somebody arrived and was just another passenger, and a guy's got to eat. So, because he says he did not have a companion until Stanley showed up. So, he's like, whew, I'm getting closer to people being able to me being able to return to Earth. Or, I mean, I don't believe this is Earth.
Mr. Lexi, sprechen Sie Deutsch?
No.
I'll turn to Emily and say, like, once in German, once we get out off of this train, I'm going to kill him.
Fräulein, let me have the honor.
I'll
And
allow
never
you
do
to
this
the-
again. Never run onto a magical train again, or I will kill you myself.
I couldn't leave Cleo. I hope you understand.
We could have tried to activate the train again. But now, no one may be able to.
I'm just gonna put this
Or
out
maybe
here.
some kid in the park will.
Yes, some child's gonna activate it, and I guess that's what we eat for the next week.
No,
As
I am
you
eating
both
kid.
as the two of them are going on in German, I don't know if the Americans can understand, but they
No.
were speaking German.
If they were speaking French, maybe.
As they're talking, Mr. Alexis's face just kind of creeps ever in between you two, and is like, "Can I discuss my plan now, or are you done chattering?"
One moment. I'm gonna look at Cleo while the Countess and Emily are talking. What happens when you if you shoot someone while they're in the middle of a spell? What happens?
The spell doesn't finish. Just to let you know.
Shh, not talking to you.
I'm talking to you, though.
I appreciate that. I'm just saying, maybe if we get rid of the source that cast the spell, would that pop us back into reality?
No.
Probably not, because the spell has already been cast.
Definitely would make me feel better.
Randolph looks at Cleo and he's like, they speak to you as though you have some knowledge of the arcane arts. Is this true?
Yes.
Fantastic, fantastic. I have been alone for so long, and then this bumbling fool shows up. He knows nothing. He just blathers on about trains. I don't want to play with trains anymore, is all you hear Stanley say. And he's like, he can't stop talking about this blasted train. And he's like, so, I've been working on a way to get home. And he's talking solely to Cleo now, and when he realizes if like all of you have stopped to listen to him, he kind of turns, he's like, oh, now you want to listen to me. Please, go on. And he kind of pointedly ignores the rest of you, and he's like, okay, so I do not have my library anymore, clearly. I did not travel with it. I thought I could escape the train and get back to my library. Here we are. What I'm struggling with is I remember the symbols and the sigils that I needed to create the pattern to open the gate, but I don't remember the pattern. So if you have knowledge of these things, perhaps you could help me. And he's like, would you like to join me in the last compartment where I have my escape plan?
I thought there were only 2.
There were 3.
Oh, okay. No, I misunderstood.
Well, there were 3 compartments that had things. Everything was empty.
Oh,
The
I
first
gotcha.
one had the refuse of the people that he's eaten. The second one is where you guys have been conferencing and Stanley was, but there is one more door, and he was like, my project to get back to the prime timeline is here, is in that room, if you would like to come and help me.
She kind of looks around at her companions and is like,
Do you ask permission? Are they
no,
your
I just
parents or something?
traditionally don't just follow strange men into rooms.
I get it. I am a strange man, and it is a small train. I'm just... Do you wish to get back? You and
Oh.
I may be anyone's only hope of getting back to London.
I'll go with you, Cleo, and watch your back.
I think we all go, including Mr. Stanley.
I'm fine. I'm fine. I mean, if it looks like you have a way...
In case what happens in that compartment doesn't affect you and we get back and you get left.
Yeah, because we're not trying
With
that
us.
train on again.
I will turn on the charm and the niceness to Mr. Stanley and attempt to coerce him into the train or the compartment with us.
It will be in your best interest.
Fine. Fine, I will join you. And he puts as many of you in between him and Mr. Alexis as he possibly can. He
Solid
does
choice.
not like Mr.
And I don't
Alexis
blame
at all.
him.
No, that's
Yeah.
solid choices.
And Mr. Stanley, if we do get back, the train's getting destroyed.
Oh, I
And-
don't ever want to see that. I know.
And
Take
you-
it, take it, take it. Take it, destroy it, burn it. I don't care. Whatever you have to do. If he says that it needs to be, like, thrown into a volcano, I will pay someone to take it.
And unfortunately, the police want to talk to you when you get back as well.
You know, jail sounds nice.
Well, that might be good because I don't know that your landlady's going to let you back in the apartment either.
Miss Atkins.
Yeah.
It is not
Long
being
story.
rented out for another month, at least.
I don't even care. Just get me back. I don't care if I'm homeless. I don't care if I live in the gutter. I don't care if I live in a sewer. I just wish to not be on this train anymore.
Well, whatever's going on here, I'm sure
And
Father Cleo will
Alexis,
figure it out.
Alexis leans his head out of the compartment. He's like, "Are you coming or not? Do you want to get home or not? I have a plan."
Cursing in German intensifies.
We will all
Have, have,
follow
have,
him.
have.
You've waited 30 years, you could wait 5 minutes.
It's been 30 years?
Well, not quite. It's 1923.
Oh, Christ almighty!
Yeah.
Look, you have me swearing in God's name. I don't even believe in him. Just get in the compartment. And he calls. He's like, "Are you coming or not?"
Look, let's just get in the compartment before he degenerates even more.
Or eats us.
Ooh.
You eat to stay alive for 30 years, apparently, and then suddenly I'm a bad guy. But he motions you into the compartment, and before you even enter the compartment, just from the doorway, who was first? Who took point on following Mr. Alexis? Was it you, Cleo? Or was it...
Probably.
Okay. As you approach the door, you are struck with a horrific smell.
Oh no.
As you look down, and Alexis is kind of stepping gingerly around some things on the floor, and you see on the floor a familiar, twisted figure 8 pattern. And it reminds you immediately of the train track. And Alexis starts talking. He's like, when the last man came, he said that he had used a train, and you mentioned this as well. I remember you. He doesn't know your name. He says you, and he points at Johanna. You mentioned some things, too, that I found very interesting, but the last man that came before Mr. Stanley mentioned that he had fashioned a train, and he had ran it around a track and opened a gate that made my train appear, and he was able to join us. It's unfortunate that he is no longer here, but he did not have any of the other knowledge I needed to complete this project. And he is looking with utter fascination at what he has built below. Give me... actually, give me a sanity roll. Actually, not yet. Not yet. Go ahead and give me a intelligence roll. Anybody who can look into the compartment, which would probably be Cleo, maybe Kelsey. You all do now smell, now that the door is open, you do smell the smell coming out. But...
that's a regular success for me.
Okay. What did you get, Cleo?
That is a hard success.
Okay. You are quite aware that what you're looking at, as Alexis stares intently at it and tells you that there's something wrong with it. I'm not sure what I've done. You realize that this track that he has created is made entirely out of a human intestine. And he's like, this must work because the other one succeeded. He got on the train, so I know that it works. And go ahead and give me, those of you that realize it's human intestine, give me a sanity roll, please.
I passed.
Me as well.
But
Okay, so
that's just a
I'm
cheat day.
going to step past the door a
Yeah,
little bit
Emily doesn't.
and hurl.
Okay.
I just lose all of my breakfast.
Not onto the track, though, right?
Not onto the track. I step to the side of the door and just.
Okay, well, so you don't lose any sanity. If you succeeded, you'd lose no sanity. You both are quite aware this looks very identical to the train track that you saw before. But with that, as huh?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was
I'll
gonna
say it after.
As you have taken note of this, and do you step into the room with him? Because he's beckoning you forward, and you've seen that he's just stepped around. He's made quite a large track, very similar in size to the one that you used before, and he's just walking very carefully around it so as not to disturb it.
Sir, you have to know that being someone that is well read in the arcane and the occult, that it's not smart to use human pieces in a spell.
What resources do I have?
When she says human pieces, Johanna's gonna look at it.
Okay, then give me that sanity check, please.
I'd be like, she's looking at us like, I wouldn't.
How much do we lose when we fail?
That is a poor replica of a train
1d3.
track.
Not much. And I know some of you have, like, I know Emily is not shocked at all by the sights of human body parts and things, so.
I don't know, you have compartments, you have clothes, you have wood.
Do you expect me to take apart the vehicle in which I assume I'm going to be able to travel back?
You could have gotten a
course not.
screw off of one of the seats and just carved it into the floor.
You could have just used the clothing off of the man that is dead.
It's done. What do you want me to say? And we are going to. So as you have all entered the room, taken in this grotesque side of this human intestine twisted into a figure 8 pattern, we are going to take our break. So we'll be back in 10 minutes to see what his escape plan is. If you all can actually help him or not, which I suspect you probably can, based on some knowledge I have from our previous session. And we will see how it goes. So please stick with us. We'll be back in 10. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being patient. We were having a lively discussion about how to eat cauliflower during the break there at the end, so John waited to switch us over. But
I
if you
believe
too would like to know the best way to eat cauliflower, just send us a little DM. We'll
I believe
slide right
it's,
in and talk about it.
boil it, mash it, stick it in a stew. Is that not right?
I mean, if that, again, that's what the people who tell you that cauliflower tastes like potatoes will tell you to do, and they're
Yeah.
wrong.
Don't do
They're
that.
just-
That is a terrible
They're
way to
just
eat.
wrong.
Now,
I
I
mean,
will eat mashed cauliflower out of a choice. It's not because I think it's potatoes. I actually enjoy some of the mashed cauliflower.
here's the
recipes out
deal.
there.
If let's talk about like the big push, which I know has nothing to do with Eldritch horrors and the Orient Express, but in my opinion, because I have considered multiple times trying to do like not go full vegan, but do like vegan through part of the week and have like a day where I eat meat,
Mhm.
and kind of dabble in some vegetable alternatives and stuff. And cauliflower is way better for me as a diabetic, not even talking about vegan stuff. It's just better for me uh, all around. But I really am bothered by like all the vegan substitutes and things are for people like me that are coming from a lifestyle of eating other crap, and so they try to sell you on everything. All these vegetables taste like all the other stuff that you ate, and I was like, no, they don't. Stop. There are some things that do. There are some of the like I love the Impossible Burger, but it is just grown in a lab and has some other stuff. It's just more ethically sourced meat, I guess, but it's plant based. But I'm just like, just sell me on why it's good. Like, I like cauliflower. You don't have to try to sell me on it being tasting like something else.
Right.
Like like fried buffalo cauliflower. I'm willing to try that. You don't have to sit here like all the ads and stuff and all the videos on YouTube are like, it tastes just like chicken. Bullshit. I know better than that. It does not taste just like chicken. It tastes like cauliflower, battered deep or baked and then doused in buffalo sauce. I'm cool with that. That
If you
sounds
deep fry
delicious.
tempeh, it tastes very similar to fried chicken.
Really?
But you're deep frying it. But texturally, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
and
I've had the jackfruit barbecue that's supposed to, substitute for pulled pork.
Jack-
Texturally, it's great.
yeah, jackfruit texturally does feel like I'm not a big fan of it if I had to, but texturally it does feel like a meat, like a shredded meat.
So that's what Randolph used, right? It was jackfruit intestines,
Yeah.
ethically
It's
sourced.
it's literally just
Ethically sourced, homegrown,
yeah.
free range
that
even.
that has such a bad connotation since we know where
It
you got them
does.
from.
It does.
Well, we're not
Um,
sure whose intestines they are.
Yeah, I mean he could have he could have
Could have
killed
been
one
someone
of the
else he
passengers.
ate.
So, but yeah, let's get right back into it after that. My rant on trying to sell me on things that taste like things that they probably don't taste like. Q chat just filled with people going, "Oh, this tastes just like this." It's like when you tell somebody you don't like potato salad, and they're like, "Well, you haven't had my potato salad." It's like, just let me eat things.
But you haven't had my potato salad because it's pretty effing good.
Allah, did you just do that to me?
You'll have to
I
prove it.
did,
Bring
yeah.
it to Detroit.
Get out! Get out now! You're fired.
Off the train.
I would love to get off this train.
Yeah. So, to reset the scene, you have entered into this compartment with this clearly deranged and insane man who has been stuck in this alternate dimension between worlds on this, what he refers to as the Doom Train, for this Mr. Randolph Alexis, who has been kind of clued into the fact that there is a way to build a pattern and recreate a gate that could reestablish a link to the real world, terra firma, instead of this ethereal ghost world that this train seems to be rushing through, where time doesn't make sense and slowly people degrade into these kind of husks of humans that seem to want to, you don't know, but it didn't seem good, whatever they were wanting to do to Cleo and Johanna as they tried to escape and succeeded in escaping their clutches. So, those of you that examined the train track in real life, the one that Stanley had bought, I would like, and I believe all of you did in one manner or another, to go ahead and give me occult rolls if that's what you used. Emily, you used a mechanical repair roll. Kelsey, I think you just used a spot hidden. So whatever rolls you use, please use again, as you are now investigating, because Randolph is insistent something is not right. It doesn't work. And he said it should work.
I succeeded.
Human.
I'm going to spend 4 points of luck to make it a hard success.
I have a hard success.
Okay.
Hard success.
Okay. Awesome. So, as you're studying this mass of organs, you are struck by one fundamental difference that is not the material of which it's made. You are struck by one fundamental difference that, especially you, Emily, believe may be the reason we're having issues here. And you comment, and all of you go, oh, and you all kind of make the same, you remember it quite clearly, like, this track is too flat. Emily remembers in looking at it that there were ramps and elevations in the track that Alexis the Younger had built. There were like bridges, and the train, it wasn't just one flat course. So, just 1 second. Sorry, we have an interloper. One of the dogs just bashed through the door and is just clomping around.
They will not be denied.
No, she won't. I don't know what it is, but she was just like, I want water. Get out of my way. But yeah, so you suggest, what's wrong with it? And that's what you've determined. So do you tell him that, or do you just go to work trying to fix it?
Yeah, Emily will mention that out loud. It's like, yes, the track that we've seen has a bridge and some elevation changes. It's not so.
Yes, fantastic. Do you remember what it looked like? Do you remember where the elevations were? And with all of those rolls, you all can kind of instruct him.
That little piece right there went over, not under.
Well, and he's like, thank you so much. And he kind of like, you didn't notice this, but there's some stuff in the corners, and he kind of goes over to a corner and he starts grabbing bloated organs and bones to kind of put under this meaty circuit and increase its height in certain places. What is that?
Delicious.
Delicious. It's positively awful. Oh. So,
What is so food waste? Some of these would actually be delicious eaten.
I'm in.
No, I'm just kidding. But also,
Oh.
yes.
And so as he does this, what? I'm just going to ask you. Can you think of something else that might be missing from this track?
A train.
Do you say that, Johanna? Do you go?
Yeah. We're
Maybe
also,
with the little symbols?
we're also missing a train.
Symbols
with
are there.
with the symbols underneath on the bottom of it.
Aha! And he reaches over and immediately comes up with this bloated heart with that's gray and green arteries dangling, and it has symbols etched in. He's like, thought of it. And he's got it, and he's like, okay. Give me a psychology roll or a psycho. I'll give you psychoanalysis as well.
It's a 4. This dude's off his rocker.
Didn't have to roll for that one.
Yeah, like, don't even...
No.
Yeah, no.
I feel like the dice are just confirming what we already know, that he's...
Yes. And further to confirm, you get the impression as he whips out this heart and he's like, ha! You get the impression that he is not just insane, he is completely, absolutely insane and extremely dangerous. And you even get the impression that had you not arrived when you did, Stanley would have already been eaten. You are quite confident in this man's demeanor that you see a hunger in his eyes, but it has been temporarily overridden by the fascination with getting back to Earth, or where he wants to go, and getting this project, as he calls it, to work. So, you determine after, describing, it needs a train, and he's like, I have one, and he's got it, and he's like, so we must push this around the track. And, because obviously there's no motor like hands. So, there you go. All right. So, who wants to push it, or do you want him to push it? Do you just tell him to push it around? He doesn't even wait. He's like, "Pa, thank you," and he starts pushing the train around the track, or the heart around the intestines and the organs and all the gore, and he's just making this weird, bizarre figure eight.
Is he
as
making
moves
train noises?
No, he's not. He's kind of sounding almost a little feral the longer he does it, and how excited he is. I mean, that this must be it. This must be it. And you do start to kind of feel something gathering, and you hear strange noises. Go ahead and give me listen rolls.
That's great. That's a
succeeded.
That's a hard success.
Regular success.
You hear strange like thumps and a series of them. Give me a spot hidden, all of you.
I succeeded too.
Why do I keep
Regular
using
success.
hard success.
As he continues to move this train around. Did some of you succeed on that?
Yeah.
Hard.
Okay. Those of you that succeeded, you happen to notice as you hear these noises all around you and this building sense of dread, you actually see something fly by outside the window, and those of you with the extreme success or the hard success, you see that it looked like legs and arms flying past, and at that moment there's a push, and feet come crashing through a window near you, and the passengers from the first carriage that have been drawn by the knowledge that there are fresh souls on board, they are now mounting a new assault, and they have clambered over the top of the train and are now coming in from the access hatch on the top, and they are swinging in through the windows, and you saw one fly off into the gray void, but you now have a number of these passengers coming in to try to get to you. So what would you like to do?
We're gonna throw him from the train.
Alexis does not stop. He's keep them off me. It won't work if you stop me. Keep them off me. And he just is mad with intensity and a little bit of he's a bit frightening at the moment, but he's still moving it around the track. He has to. He's insistent that he must keep it moving for this
Frolin,
to
do you
work.
have your gun?
I will pull out my gun. Yes.
I have mine. I already have mine out.
In that case, Emily reaches into her skirts and takes out a revolver and gives it to Cleo. Just point it.
And these people start coming at you. So we are going to go ahead and go into initiative. Just because I don't have your sheets in front of me, can I get your Dexy bonuses?
85.
80.
70.
75.
Oh, nice. Yes.
One
All in a row.
second.
85, 80,
Yeah.
75, 70. Woo.
1 second, y'all. 1
You
second.
can watch all the
y'all.
ghosts are like 98.
They are
highly,
There's
highly
channeling
unlikely.
zombies. Just because it's a ghost train doesn't mean they're ghosts too.
Okay.
No, actually, after what he said, I'm fairly sure that there's some kind of weird half-alive state. That they're physical. I mean, we'll be able to shoot them at least.
What was the highest number that you guys gave me?
85.
85.
And who was that?
Mine. Kelsey.
And next, who was 80?
Emily.
And 75?
That's
Me.
Cleo.
Cleo.
And you were 70, right, Countess?
Yep.
Alrighty, cool. So, as you hear all this crashing, and they're coming in, you can see them across the hall, coming in some of the other windows there. And if any of you peek out of the door, you can hear. Even if you don't peek out the door, you do hear like people coming kind of down the hall. So go ahead and yeah. So what are your actions? Go and declare your actions for this round.
So according to Passion Nerdly, we should challenge them to a dance-off. I think that will work. We could do Thriller.
You could certainly try.
So you said there's some coming down the hallway. Do we have? There's some coming through the window right now.
Yes, some actually. One actually kicked in through the window, in your compartment and kind of like swung in and is reaching for you. And you, like I said, you see them across the way coming in as well.
I'm gonna shoot the one that's in the room with us first because we gotta stop that. Excuse me.
All right. So go ahead, Kelsey. Give me your pow pow roll. Your pew pew.
My pew pew. That is a 48, which is a. Where's the pew pew? That's just a regular success.
Okay. Let's see here. He does. The passenger that has come into the room. It's a man with a sagging mustache and his jaws hanging open grossly, and his skin is again that bluish, cold skin. You are combating now the smell of the organs and everything is the smell of the old wet wood that seems to emanate off these former passengers of this train. And and as you shoot him, he doesn't even attempt to dodge. He takes it. Let's see. Go ahead and roll your damage on that.
That's a 7.
Alrighty, he kind of and continues to reach for you. Next in initiative would be Emily.
Yeah, I guess it would depend on how many we have coming in through the windows and how many are coming in from further down the train carts.
You see across the way, kind of clambering in through the windows on the other side of the hall, not in your compartment, but on the other side of the hall, you see 3 more. Do you check out in the hallway?
Yeah, I don't want to get stuck in this compartment. So she'll walk out there. We'll draw her sword cane.
Okay. You see coming down, like slowly clambering down the hall with their weird sighs and their groans and their moans. You see another like 4 or 5
All right.
There's
Well,
quite a few. Yeah,
Emily will probably hold the door then.
sounds good.
And if there's any, are there any within direct melee reach at the moment?
Not yet. There's
If not,
still a
then she
distance
will
off.
guess the equivalent of delay.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's fine. You can. It'll be all right. You're just gonna hold your action essentially.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, cool. All right. Next is Cleo.
I mean, she has this gun and the little gun that she usually keeps on her, but actually, really what she wants to try to do is create like a magical boundary like in the hallway that stops them from moving forward.
Okay. Is what I will have you do, because you don't have any actual spells from the system, right?
I don't think I do, but I could try to find one.
Won't worry about that now. Is what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have you make an occult roll.
Sure.
And maybe coupled with an intelligence roll. They may even
Sure.
be the same. And just see if you can, it'll take you a round probably to draw the symbols.
Mhm.
And then maybe another round to kind of enact that protection.
Sure. Yeah, that's a 20, so that is, I will spend
Sounds-
3 luck and I will make that an extreme success.
Okay, fantastic. Well, you start, so you have the guns, and you come out there, I'm sure, and you just kind of like, you look at Emily, who's like ready with her sword cane, and you set the guns down and start scribbling on the on the floor and on the walls around. Okay. And then so next we have Johanna.
So Emily's holding the door, and Cleo is enacting some sort of ritual. Is there anyone else in the room? Any of the other passengers in the room with us?
Not in the room with you right now, except for the one that Kelsey shot.
Is it? But he didn't drop, did he?
He did not drop. He
Oh.
is, and he's reaching for. Kelsey drew his attention by firing at him, so he is kind of lumbering toward Kelsey, and moaning and come with us.
I'm gonna like rush him and with my knife and like try and body check him into the wall.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a brawl check on that.
That is a success, just a regular success.
Okie dokie. So you push him back towards the window that he kicked in to get there, and go ahead and give me some damage on that. 4. Perfect. With that, he's and you see him kind of like, as you rush into him, he has just enough time to kind of turn and start to enclose you in his arm, and his mouth moves towards yours, and as you shove him right back out the window.
Nice.
And he flies off into nothing, and he is no longer a problem. Moving on to the passengers now. Yeah, ruh-roh. The two, you got this one out. That's good. And Alexis is just down there going, yes, keep them away. And he continues making a circuit. That is his sole action ever. But
At all times.
At all times, he just is making his little meat train do its thing. So the 3 zombies, or whatever you want to call them, that broke in through the window across the hall, you see them getting to the door, and they're kind of pressing on it and shoving the door open and doing their best to kind of get out into the hallway, but they've kind of all clambered at the door of the compartment over there, and that's the compartment where all the bones and everything were, and the clothes and whatnot, the seemingly the kitchen for Mr. Alexis. And they're kind of stuck there, but they're getting there. I'm gonna say, Emily, they are kind of off to your right, and there's an arm kind of reaching out, but it's not quite breaking through yet. So that's there. They're close enough. If you would like to attack that arm that is swinging out and trying to grab at you, if you do have a sword, you said so, you could try to cleave some flesh.
That's fun. I rolled a 5, so
Fantastic.
extreme success.
Awesome,
then-
awesome, awesome.
It is 8 damage.
Okay, phenomenal. Let's see here. I'm going to say with that 8 damage, you do end up cutting most of the way through that arm that's kind of reaching out. Now, the part, I don't know why I'm holding the push talk button. I'm on always on. So it was kind of reaching out like this. You cleave it just in front of the elbow, and it kind of starts to dangle away. The bone is sawed some, but it doesn't fully break through. But the arm is still kind of still trying to reach for you. It's just not working as cleanly as it did before.
Does it appear
And
like
there's-
humanish, or is it like...
It looks like old, kind of dead, drab. It's not like actively bleeding. It's just almost ashy in color. But it looks like it has sinew and the same kind of tissues you might expect. It just looks like it's degenerated. Something is not right with it. And you assume that that is the effect of being on this train in this dimension for as long as they've been there. Sorry, I'm trying to type something and Microsoft is like, I'm going to do a formula. So the passes, so that's what those 3 are doing. They're kind of stuck where they are. Emily, you took your action. The 4 that are lumbering down the hall before you make it another like 6 feet. They've still got a ways. I mean, these train carriages are quite long. I didn't do a good job of describing them, but if you've ever seen passenger train carriages where they have rooms and compartments, usually pretty good length. So you've still got some room to get through, or they have some room to travel before they get to you there. While Cleo is working on her drawing. Let's see here. And then, so back to the top of the order. Kelsey, what are you doing? Go ahead and declare your actions, please.
So, nothing currently in the choo-choo train of horror room.
No, just Mr. Stanley kind of crying and cowering in the corner. Oh God, keep them away! And Alexis doing trying to complete the circuits and continuing to insist that don't let them touch me.
I guess I will swing out the door so that I can keep an eye on what's coming down the hallway with Emily, but also keep an eye on if anything comes in the room. I don't want to be too far from the room.
Okay, nope, that sounds
So
fine.
kind of like hovering in the doorway a little bit.
That's fine. So I'm going to say that you're kind of, the way that I'm going to have you positioned, if you want to kind of mental picture it, is we had Emily standing guard in the hallway. The compartment across the hall, the door to it is kind of ahead and to her right. You have now come in behind her. Cleo is kneeling on the floor in front of her, scribbling onto the walls on the floor, trying to draw protective sigils. And then you have down probably 15 feet, you have these other 4 lumbering things. So you're looking over Emily's left shoulder, essentially.
Okay, so I can pop off a shot then.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So
that is a 12, which is a hard success. Wait, let me confirm. No, that's an extreme success.
Awesome. Go ahead and roll me damage on that. Do you get extra damage if it's an extreme success, Matt?
No, you get one if you're critical and it's impaling.
Okay, cool.
Which gun's impale?
It is a 7 again.
Fantastic. Okay. You see again, come with us, and these men and women are continuing, and they take a hit, and the one in front kind of stumbles back, and but pushes back forward onto his feet, and it is not stopped or dropped. So, but it did. You blew a nice little hole in it. Let's see here. That was 7 points.
7.
Okay. Cool. All right. Just because I'm still getting the hang of combat in Call of Cthulhu, do guns ever get a second attack?
It
Like, is
can,
there?
if any attack past the first that you take. First, the gun has to have a number of attacks. It'll have a number and then a number in parentheses. That's the maximum number of shots. Each shot past the first gets a penalty dice.
So yeah, I can take up to 3 shots with this. So
Okay, if
I'll
you
take
would
a
like to do that, you can.
Yep,
You
but I
just
gotta
have to
roll.
take a penalty die.
Yep, that's fine. That is I rolled a 20 and a 70, so that is going to, I take the 70, which is a regular success.
Okay, go ahead and give me damage. Is this on the same person,
one.
the one in front?
Yep.
Okay.
5.
5, okay. This one kind of hits the shoulder, and you see the arm kind of drop off, and it's dangling by just some like ligament or tendon holding the bone there, but you have blown a good hole in it. She continues to come towards you, and she's like, "Come with us."
No. Go.
Do you want to take another shot or end your turn?
You will have 2 penalty dice. Then
Yeah. No, I'm good.
Okay, that works. Okay, so moving on, Emily, what is your action?
I'll finish chopping off that one arm.
Okay, sounds good. Go and give me a knife roll or sword roll or brawl or whatever it is.
It is a hard success.
Reroll for Allah if she wants one.
Oh, nice. Hard success, fantastic. Go ahead and give me damage.
It is a total of 7 damage.
Fantastic. Okay, so with that 7 damage, you finish hacking off the arm. The corpse leans out a little bit more, and I'm gonna say as you swip with your sword, you actually cut its head off at the same time. So when you cut through both, as because she was just falling out of the room, being pushed by her companions, and she drops to the floor in a heap of wet, woody-smelling zombie old human.
Madam Fraulein, or Madam Cleo, if you are not using the pistol, might I have it back, please?
Yeah, she's like sketching and she's like,
And then next in our initiative, was that the extent of your turn? You don't want to move or anything?
No, I still want to guard this door. Because whatever Cleo's doing is hopefully going to work.
Yeah, sure. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and get Cleo. You are continuing to scribble your scribbles.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and give me another occult roll to enact your protection spell.
Yeah, that's a regular success.
Okay, fantastic. So as you describe to me how you like what means you do to kind of like activate this
Sure.
shield.
It's it's sort of like she's down there obviously, and she's scribbling her stuff, and she's got her salts and she probably has like some shit burning, and she like rolls. She actually rolls up. She like rolls up her sleeves so you can, as far as they can go up her arms, so you can like see her tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
And she sort of like, just for her than anything else, she like puts her hands on them as she's done things, like down. You like see her look up,
mm-hmm.
and just start speaking very quickly and like almost gibberish.
Okay.
And it's like you can see, I mean, they don't like light up or anything, but you can, if you're near these sigils and stuff like that, it's like there is a palpable energy that seems to like emit as she's just like sitting there.
Okay.
Speaking very quickly, staring ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you to go ahead and spend a couple magic points to enact that. Yeah. So, what'd you say, Matt?
Can I roll for languages on that gibberish that came out of her? Or does it matter?
On your turn.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to.
Okay. I mean, your turn is next, but I don't mind. Yeah, you're free to do that. You're kind of in a safe spot right now, as far as you could tell. So Cleo, it does enact. You do all that. You shout. You say your words, and you you feel this energy go up. It's invisible to anyone else except for the sensation of it purely. And yeah, you feel the magic kind of flow out of you, and you stand there holding your ground. And then we go to Johanna, who wants to try to identify what language you are speaking.
So first, I like that you say you're in a safe spot. I'm standing next to the cannibal.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But there's no active
no,
zombie. He's very focused on that green and gray heart that he's pushing around that wonderful track of intestine.
Yeah, that is not. It is a solid. It is a regular success on my intelligence for that
Okay.
language.
So, were you speaking a specific language, Cleo, or was this like some sort of? I will say. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say you might recognize that she's speaking like old Gaelic.
Okay.
Like it's like old Druid.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Fantastic. I was also going to say that if at any point either of you want to say that I'm speaking this arcane language that most people don't know because you're both trained somewhat in the occult and have spent time studying languages and arcane things, you could also recognize it even if I don't have a name for it, if that makes sense.
I want to wait until if something comes in the window, I want to not let it come in the window and like push it out. That's because there's a window in this compartment, right?
Yes.
So that just on the zombie's turn, if something is to come in this window, I want to push it out the window. That's it. That's all I'm doing.
Nope, that's fine. So you're essentially holding a nope as you push it right out the side. Okay, fantastic. All right, so that takes us back to the passengers. We have the one that is flown out into the ether because Johanna just tackled him right into the window. We have the one who dropped dead. Now her companions, Emily, are starting to with her kind of out of the way. They are stumbling over her unmoving legs, but now you have two more hands kind of reaching out, and one of them is like the whole top part of the body is reaching out and reaching for you and kind of clawing towards you. and you see like its mouth, it's like it's straining its neck to try to get its mouth close to you. Like a perv at a bar, just yay. So it doesn't, they kind of are like one leg is coming out to step past its companion, and the other one is right behind it. So they kind of start to break out into the hallway there. And you can, let's see, how do I want to do this? So yeah, as they break out into the hallway, how far away? You were just like, you were close enough because you were in melee range. So yeah, one of them that first one reaches its arm out and starts to kind of like strain towards you, and is going to try to grab you. So give me a second here.
All right, I would like to attempt to dodge.
Okay. Let's see if they actually get close enough to get you, which they do not. So you will say, without rolling it, we'll say that you narratively dodge, and you're like, oh, and kind of do a little slide back, and as he's grabbing for you, and the other one behind it starts to try to like shove him out of the way to also attempt to grab you, and with that roll, you guys should be very happy. My dice are rolling very high tonight. So, he actually reaches out to grab you and stumbles over his fallen comrade and kind of leans forward and falls to a knee, but still reaching for you, just reaching more for your knee. So, going now to the ones down the way, they move up. They have the distance between you and between the spell and them. So now these, just to clarify, these ones that you had attacked earlier, they are behind where Cleo was making the protection, because you all were kind of real close together. So They have the distance. No other progression is made. They just are continuing their slow lumbering walk. Let's go back to the top of the round or top of the order, and we have Kelsey. You muted.
See, I'm doing a new method, not used to it. Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
So
That's
we
my
don't know
fault.
that the barrier is working, right?
You don't know yet.
So I'm gonna take another shot.
Okay.
Whatever one's in the lead, or probably the one that's closest to Emily, if I can make it that shot.
Okay.
Safely.
Do you want to? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's right there in front of her and kind of like was swiping at her. So just try not to fail.
It's a regular success.
Okay, that's good. Go ahead and roll damage.
4.
Okay, fantastic.
And I'll take
Go
a
ahead.
second shot.
Okay, don't forget your penalty die.
Yeah. That is a 57, so regular success.
Mm-hmm.
That's another 5.
Alrighty. So that one, poof, poof, it gets. You see the wounds left from your bullet, and it continues to reach forward and try to grab her, but you did get two pretty good hits on it. Let's see, and you only shot the one, right? Same guy both times.
Yeah.
Okay. Cleo, you just going to continue to hold that spell?
Yeah, I mean, if it's possible for her to add something onto it, I could have her do that. But if she just needs to keep it
Let's
going,
go ahead
then
and
we
just
can do
have
that
her
too.
keep it. Let's go ahead and have
Right.
her keep it going. Your friends are doing pretty well at making wood shavings out of these people. So let's go ahead and go to Johanna. Are you still just waiting to see if anybody comes in?
Randolph.
Randolph.
He's still
Keep them away.
he's still training it up, right?
So just for a reference, about every time, for every round of combat is about one circuit of the track.
Okay. I will just kind of like not yell, but loudly announce to him, the train outside in the real world took 26 times around the track. Keep going.
I'm on 37.
Oh, jeez. And then I'm going to keep watching out the window, and if anything comes in,
good.
I'm going to push it out.
Sounds good. Okay. Let's go ahead. Then we're back to the passengers. So that one that Sean just shot, or Kelsey just shot twice, is still grabbing towards you, and he's going to once again try to grapple you, or grab you, Emily. No, and he does not. He does not, in fact. His buddy is going to try to claw at your leg. He does not either. Literally, I've rolled 65, 68. I just rolled an 80 and an 81. I need to roll a 30% or lower to get this maneuver off. So yeah, they don't do that. Now the other 4 have they are now like a foot in front of the barrier, and they're still reaching out, and as they come up to the barrier, it's like their hands just stop against it, like they can't, and they start to just press against it because the 3 behind the main woman are just like stuck there, pressing her against this unseen barrier. Very similar to how they behaved when they met the door. They just had a physical door that they were pressed up against, but your sigils seem to be holding for the moment. What I'm probably going to have you do is roll like an occult or an intelligence, or maybe even a POW, probably a POW check to maintain that spell. So back to the top of the order, we got Kelsey again.
No offense, Cleo. It seems you're working, but I'm gonna keep trying to take them out because they're right there.
Are you going to? So are you shooting the ones in front of Emily, or the ones out beyond the barrier?
Oh, that's right, because the ones in front of Emily are out, or inside
are within the. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's okay. Inside the barrier first. Let's get rid of them. That is a hard success.
Okay, damage.
5.
5. Fantastic.
Is it still
All right,
standing?
this one, you. Oh yeah, go ahead and take your other shot.
Oh, I mean, is it still standing? Because I'll aim at
It,
someone
it
else.
is still standing.
Okay.
You see, with like the impact of the blows, especially at this range, because you're so close. The body starts to kind of fall apart and tear apart.
So sad.
What did you get?
Well, because I had to roll with penalty, so I got an extreme and a 51. Or, I mean, a critical and a 51. So I got to
Is
take
a
the
51?
51.
Is the 51 a success?
It's a success, but it's, I want
It's not a critical.
Yeah, I
Sure,
want the
sure,
critical
sure, sure, sure.
success.
Yeah. So go ahead and roll damage on that one again.
9.
Okay. It didn't take much. You shoot it. You shoot it point blank in the face, and the head kind of crumples inward, and you see it kind of fall back against its friend and slump over. As I said on the last shot, it impacted at this range with such velocity that parts of the body kind of started to break apart and fall off. So here, off one side as an arm drops off, and yeah, so this passenger now with his caved in face falls back. His friend kind of, he actually fall. His friend is on the ground, so his friend kind of like tries to push him away. And let me see one thing real fast. Since he did fall, of course, now I roll that. Let's see. This is number 3. And yeah, he is able to push his friend off and maintain his stature. So, but yeah, that one did go down. So,
Okay. That's the end of my turn.
did you want to take a third shot with 2 penalties?
No.
Okay, just asking. Next in the list is Emily. You have one grabbing for your legs, but inexplicably unable to you're like water through hands.
Emily was probably a professional dancer at some point. I don't know.
Oh, hey.
But it sounds like pistols are working better than swords, so she
Swords?
will, sheath her cane and take a pot shot with her gun.
Sounds good. All right, give me a little roly poo there.
Right, that is a hard success.
And this is for the guy in front of you on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of
Give
basically
damage?
like stepping a little bit out of reach and pointing the gun in his face, and
Cool.
9 points of damage.
Nice. That is wonderful. He is kind of like, weebles wobble but don't fall down. He kind of just rears back and he comes, oh, and he's reaching for you, but he does look injured. Do you have another attack on
I do.
that?
I have up to 3 shots in this gun. And I'm gonna make my second one.
Fantastic.
And the I guess the highest was an 18, so that's going to be another 7 points of damage. Oh, these guys are
Fantastic.
great.
Yeah, so as you shot him once and he started to rear back and he tried to come back up, you shot him again and he falls back and his knees actually snap at the joint and they, because the force was just too much for his old and withered body, and he falls apart and he's there with his his legs ending at the knees, kind of moving. His shoulders and his chest are imploded, and his he's not looking good
Fun
at
fact,
all.
that
And
knee thing also happens after 35. Just
yeah,
be really
I think-
careful sitting up.
Yeah, you don't have to be an undead passenger on the Doom train to suffer a terrible fate with your
And
knees.
are there any more over in that general area? Or is it just these two that were?
The other ones are up against the barrier that Cleo has enabled, so they have not gotten through yet. But no one has tried shooting
YOLO.
through the barrier.
I'm gonna try to
Okay.
YOLO shoot through the barrier, see what happens.
Sounds great.
It is a regular success. Roll a
Okay.
74 out of 75.
Wow. Okay,
Nice.
give me that damage.
8 points of damage, though.
8. Nice, fantastic. Okay, so I'm gonna put that on the one that was right in front. Just a hint, he only had 1 point left. So yeah, you take out that lady right in front, and she's like, and she just kind of crumples to pieces as this blast hits her. Now again, she's still kind of pressed up against the barrier there because the press behind her. So I'm actually going to treat her as cover for a little bit, just because she's kind of standing in between the rest of you and her friends. But that takes us to Cleo. So go ahead and give me a POW check to see if you can maintain that barrier. It is holding.
Yeah, that's a 15. So that is. Where is my POW? That's an extreme success.
Okay, fantastic. Then, yep, the barrier holds, and actually, it kind of, you kind of feel this pulse of energy from it, from you feeding this barrier, and the creatures on the other side kind of are pushed back a little bit, but they come right back and are still trying to figure out how to break through. Um, Johanna, what is your turn? Actually, you know what, Johanna, can you give me a spot hidden real fast? Or a listen, whichever one. Because are you watching specifically out the window?
I am very intently watching out the window.
Okay, give me a listen then.
Yeah, I felt that.
Okay.
We have table rerolls, right?
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
I'll reroll that.
Use them up.
No, never mind.
Don't we have like 2 more?
I mean, I'm not going to hog all the rerolls. Not for a 31% chance of succeeding.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. You do not see anybody. Do you want to continue staying there and just keeping your eyes on?
Yeah. Does Emily look, or not Emily? Does Cleo look like she's okay?
Yeah, she seems like she's holding strong.
Then yeah, I'll just wait.
Super focused on what she's doing.
Yeah, I'll wait and keep an eye on the window.
Fantastic. Okay. Moving on to the passengers, we're down to 3, and the one is kind of still being pressed up against the barrier that Cleo is holding. The one behind her is angrily trying to shove the dead one in front out of the way. We also have, sorry guys, I'm super thirsty. The one in back is now looking around and veers off and goes into one of the compartments next to it, and you lose sight of them through the windows of the compartment. Sorry, I got really thirsty and there was a loud noise. so he veers off. At this time, Randolph is still making his demented face as he pushes the heart around the circuit. At this point, Johanna, you are aware of it first because he's right in the room with you, but you sense the movement of someone beside you, and Stanley's like, just starts shrieking and jumps up from the room, and he's like, get me out of here, and he get me away from this man, and he shoots out, and Randolph is just like as he continues to make the demented circuits. You're not entirely sure what Randolph said to him, but Henry takes off, and he actually shoves his way out into the hall, and he starts shoving past both you, Kelsey, and Emily, and I'm gonna, let's see, Mr. Stanley. Of course, I roll good now. Mr. Stanley powers his way past you all, like he is like frantic running. He pushes past you. Cleo, give me a strength check if you don't. Strength, or go and give me another POW check, because he kind of body checks you pretty hard as he tries to get out. Because you're kneeling down on the ground, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a 44, which is a hard success.
Okay, so you maintain your focus on the barrier, but Mr. Stanley just careens past you because there's only one guy on the edge of that barrier, and he just seems like he thinks he can get around. So he charges past, and as he's running past that guy who does not pay him much mind, he kind of and goes to get him, but Stanley moves on. His friend comes out of the compartment behind him and grabs a hold. You see him grab a hold of Stanley and get right, like, full arm, and Stanley's trying to get off me, and the man is holding him and just goes and starts to just fixes his lips right on his mouth and breathes deeply, and you see Stanley's visage and countenance and skin tone get drained of color like the others, and he just becomes kind of a hollow version of himself with the bluish cold skin, or you assume it's probably cold. The lips are incredibly vivid and lurid in color as as the other man releases his mouth and pulls away, and that man looks almost energized from this consumption of what. Go ahead and give me, anybody who's watching this, give me an occult roll.
I can't see it, can I? It's out in the hall, right?
Yeah, unless you turned and watched Stanley leave. If you turned away from the
I
window,
probably would have. Yeah,
okay.
That's a 71. That's a fail.
I succeeded. I got a hard success.
Nice. Cleo, did
Succeeded.
you get... Okay. Those of you that did succeed and watch this, and it makes sense that it's the both of you with your occult knowledge, you're quite confident that that was... Essentially, he sucked Mr. Stanley's soul right out of his body. And at this point, he...
Do I lose sanity for that?
Yeah, probably. Actually, all of you go and give me sanity rolls, because you see Mr. In fact, let me see down here. Sanity loss. Yeah. Yep.
That is a 20. I succeeded.
Okay, that's only 1 point lost. If you succeed, it's 1 point.
And when we fail?
And when you fail, it's a 1d8.
I'm
Because
going
you
to
were
spend-
here. You were here
Oof.
to rescue Mr. Stanley, and you were very close, and now he's been taken by the train.
Can in combat, can we spend luck to negate that sanity loss?
Yeah,
Cool.
and that's
Doing
just
it.
Pulp Cthulhu. Now remember, guys, once we hit the end of the chapter, you do get to get your sanity back. That's part of
know.
the mechanic.
I know.
But yeah,
but
please.
I'm trying to balance what happened to me last campaign
That's smart.
with tons of sanity loss.
Okay, but yeah, so yeah, you are struck by this loss of this person who you thought you almost had saved.
I am spending 14 points of luck because if I don't, I'll go into a temporary sanity break. I lost a lot of sanity this game.
Oh no. Okay, yeah.
I
do it.
take that back. It's been more than an hour, right? No, we've been on the train for less than an hour. It's all been bad on the train. Right?
It's all been bad on the train. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm spending my 14 luck.
I'm gonna say yeah. It's been about an hour. Yeah. By the time you get back, it'll have been. Well, you don't know how long it'll be
Yeah.
by the time you get back. It's Friday.
16 years.
16 years later.
Fezzes across the world. It's a complete take.
It's the Attack of the Killer Fezzes.
Just a fez on the top of the world. Just one giant fez.
Yeah. The Statue of Liberty now has a fez. The Empire State Building wears a fez. The Eiffel Tower has a fez. Leaning Tower of Pisa has a crooked fez that's actually upright.
I don't know.
It's
I kind of like
just-
the Leaning Tower of Pizza, actually.
Oh, that sounds good. Eh?
Great, now I'm hungry again.
Yeah, wonderful. But yeah, so you see Mr. Stanley then turns and joins the other two, heading for the barrier and reaching out to Cleo and Emily beyond it. Randolph is still as he pushes the heart around the track. 38 now, and yeah. Yeah, he's been counting off the laps the circuits as he makes them. So with that, we're back to the top of the order. Kelsey.
I am going to take. I'm going to call it. I'm shooting Stanley.
Okay.
That is a regular success,
Fantastic.
and that's 5 points of damage.
Okay.
Taking another shot. That's a crit failure.
Oh
I rolled
no.
100. I roll. That's what if you roll the double zeros and a zero, that's the crit failure, right?
Yep. Does your gun jam? What's your malfunction level
Oh.
for your gun?
It is that. It is
What is that?
actually 99.
Okay. Well, yeah. Then your gun
Jam.
has malfunctioned and will need to be cleared before you can use it again.
That's okay. That
So-
would have been the last bullet. So
Okay.
out of
Well,
it.
you can fiddle with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna holler to Emily. Guns jammed.
Okay.
And just- that's
The
it.
barrier is holding, so you do have some time to work on clearing that next round if you would like to. Let's go on to Emily. What are you going to start firing into the crowd?
Well, since mine is only a revolver, I need to reload.
Okay.
And I'm assuming
so-
that's a movement equivalent. I'm not
Matt-
sure what it is in Pulp.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Reloading a
Reloading you can do and still fire. You just take a penalty dice.
Okay.
good to know.
I need to
Oh,
be more familiar with combat, but I forget a lot of combat
There's
rules.
a couple
real
other
easy.
rules that we have kind of flubbed, but honestly, combat's only important if it's exciting.
Yep.
okay, so I will reload in the meantime. And then Emily will reach into her skirt and she'll pull out another pistol. It's similar. It's a 38 revolver.
Okay. Fantastic.
And
You gonna fire again?
she'll
Oh,
fire
I guess
once.
you haven't fired yet. Yeah.
Yeah, she'll fire one shot.
Okay.
Yeah, and the 38 is the highest there, so that's a success, and it is
Okay.
7 damage.
And this was at the one in front
Yes,
or
I
Stanley?
want to keep. Oh, I don't want to. I feel bad for poor Stanley. It'll be the one at the very front.
Okay. Do you want to YOLO and fire again?
No, I don't. That's
Okay.
going to be a lot of penalty dice.
Fixing a gun jam takes a D6 combat rounds, FYI.
Oh, okay. Cool.
This
2.
is why I carry multiple spes.
Yeah. Do you have another gun, Kelsey?
I just handed him one.
Oh, cool.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I've
Oh,
got
was
my
that the one
Derringer.
that you handed? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
I've
the
got
second one.
I've got my Derringer, but that's like 2 shots and.
Yeah, no worries. So, Emily just handed you another gun that
Awesome.
you can use.
Thank you.
It would take 2 rounds to fix the gun that you were using. So next, so that was 7 points of damage on the guy in front there, and we have. It is now Cleo's turn. Go ahead and give me that POW check, unless you want to try to do something else. But your barrier is working fantastically.
Nope, she will keep the barrier.
Okay.
Yep, that's a 28, so that's a hard success.
Awesome. So you maintain that with a hard success. Again, you feel that that pulse of energy as you continue to fuel this barrier, and the creatures are buffeted back a few steps. But they, of course, don't go down. They don't seem to be taking any sort of damage. It's just pushing them away a little bit. Next on it is Johanna.
I'm gonna move towards the doorway and look out into the hall and like kind of fire, but also keep an eye on the window just in case.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead.
I've been doing nothing, and I don't want to do that. So
No, that's fine. Go ahead. I'm going to let you make your shot, and I'm going to let you roll a spot hidden to see if you see any movement outside the window.
I barely succeeded on my firearm.
Okay.
And I did not succeed on my spot hidden. That's why I'm the one watching the window.
Okay. All right. Go and give me damage on your firearm. Which one are you shooting at, by the way?
It doesn't matter to Johanna. She has no idea, but probably
Okay.
not Stanley if he's up. Like I can't imagine shooting him.
Okay. What'd you get?
I'm sorry, 8 damage.
Oh, okay, cool. Let's see here. So I'm gonna go ahead and I rolled that, which is this one. So that is negative. You said 8. Okay, fantastic. It hits him hard. What kind of gun are you shooting, by the way?
It's a 38 automatic.
Okay, it hits this undead fellow very hard, and you see kind of pieces of him chip off and flake off by the blast. It leaves a gaping smoking hole in his chest. And now we move on to the passengers. So we have, as that one takes that shot, he kind of leans forward and comes back almost with a renewed vengeance. This is the one that actually attacked Mr. Stanley. So he was already feeling a little bit souped up, and he lumbers forward a little bit more and kind of pushes his friend out of the way. The one, I say friend, the other one that is closer to the barrier, and he's going to try his hardest to push against this barrier. Cleo, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna make this a contested roll.
Okay.
Go ahead and make your POW check, and then this gentleman is going to make I'm gonna say a Constitution check. Oh shit! What'd you get?
That That is an extreme success on the nose.
Okay, well you did better than he did. Okay, he made a hard success, but he just starts trying to push through as hard. What was I watching the other day and that happened? Somebody was just like "Arr!" and starts just forcing his way through. So I can't remember now.
Great.
But,
Now I can think about it as Ace Ventura when he's trying to get out of the rhinoceros.
Nope, not that. That's not what I'm thinking of.
But that's what I'm thinking of now that you described it that
Yeah.
way.
He's just trying to push his hands through this invisible barrier, and you see him like pieces of his fingers as he's pushing against this barrier. Like the skin is pulling back, almost like an avulsion. It's just pushing the skin back, which is then flaking off like old paper, and the bones of the fingers are just crumbling against the. And he's just and he's trying to get in, and he's pushing his head closer and closer, but you are able to fend him off, and he just is stuck there. His friend is kind of stumbled over, not as full strength as this man is, and Stanley is lumbering forward and calling out, and he's like, I thought you were here to save me. And he and
You were the one that ran out.
Cleo drops the spell to be like, excuse me. But yeah, so that's their turn. They don't get any farther. They are pretty much held at bay. You do hear anybody who wants to give me a listen roll. Cleo, I'm going to say that you're so focused on what you're doing that you do not make a listen roll.
No.
I'm spending 3 points of luck to get that to be an actual success.
Okay.
It's a regular success.
Okay. Emily?
Also
do you hear
regular
any-
success.
Okay. You all hear bump, 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 bump above you, and are concerned that there might be somebody joining the fray. You do not see anything yet, but you do hear pounding on the wood above you. Top of the order, Kelsey. You've got this guy who's like trying to push in, and his fingers are kind of grinding away as he's pushing in. You've got Stanley calling out and reaching out. He can't get past the barrier, but he's help me. And the other guy is okay. And Randolph is just in there going, I'm almost on 39.
Regular success.
Okay.
What is the 38? What is that? Is it a 1d10, 1d8?
It's a 1d10.
1d10?
Yep. And the same as yours, it can fire up to 3 shots.
Okay. That's a 3
Okay.
damage, and then I'm going to take a second shot to help Stanley. And that's another regular success.
Okay.
And that is a 4.
I think he did it finally. And Stanley's like, and the fire goes off, and you get him right in the. I'm gonna say you shoot him right here, right below his chin, and his head just kind of falls back. His neck breaks open, and he falls backwards onto the floor of the train behind the other two undead passengers. And Mr. Stanley's wails for help are no longer a problem. Next we have Emily. Emily, what would you like to do? So we still have the guy who's supercharged, and he's pushing against the barrier, and then we have his friend who is still also kind of like lamely scraping at the barrier.
Probably the supercharged guy that's really going for it. See if we can put him out of his misery.
As he continues to... yeah, he's in a battle of wills with Cleo.
Regular success.
Okay.
2 points of damage.
Okay.
Follow-up shot, because that was sad.
Okay.
They're both hard successes.
Nice.
Oh, that's 7 points of damage for that one.
Nice. Okay, well he is hurt, and you see like where you've shot him, you actually shot him in the face, and like his cheek kind of ripped open, and it's like again like dried flaking paper just rips off of this, and you see his gray and rotten teeth in his mouth, and he's just pushing closer and closer. It's just kind of added to this disgusting, like, sickened grin that he already had as he tried to gather his will to bust through this barrier. He
One
is
last
I
still
would like to
standing.
know how you got those scars.
Did you say you want to make another shot?
One last shot.
Okay.
Oh boy. Wow. 72 was the highest, so that is a regular success.
Okay.
Just saying, one of them was a 3, which is disappointing. But ooh, 10 points of damage for that one.
Oh,
Nice.
and with that, as you make that other shot, indeed, YOLO, and this guy has been, you only, who says you only die once? He goes, you make that other shot, and you see the bullet penetrate through the front of his face. His teeth kind of crack open. His face kind of splits with the impact of the bullet, and you see his whole head just kind of into a fine mist of darkened skin and skull pieces, and whatever was left of his blackened gray matter is spilling out, and his hands fall limp from the barrier, and his body leans forward against it and starts to just slowly slide down Cleo's barrier as it comes into contact with that arcane energy that she keeps kind of repowering with her rolls. You see his clothes kind of rip and tear, and almost like, again, fine paper or India paper that has been crumpled too many times, and it just flakes off as he slides to the ground. And his friend behind him tries to, take his place at the front. Next after that, we have Cleo. So go ahead and make me one more power roll. It looks like we're wearing through this group here.
Nice. That is a 17, which is an extreme success. I love having. I always get to roll 2 with
Nice.
my house.
I'm
love
going
it.
to say, roll me a D100.
Okay.
Use your occult figure.
Okay. Oh, I need 2 die. Okay, that is a 53.
Okay, is that a success on your occult figure?
Oh, on my occult, yes.
Okay, go ahead and give me a D10 roll.
7.
Fantastic. With that 7, this time after having this contest of wills with this big brute of a fella that Emily just dispatched with those 3 shots, the other guy, as he leans forward and contacts the barrier, and you again resupply kind of with your energy and your force of will and your intensity, you kind of again, and when it does this time, it's, with that contest, your adrenaline went up and you pushed more of yourself into it, and when that barrier, it actually causes damage, and it throws the other one back, and he kind of bursts apart in a weird, almost as if he was struck with something very blunt, a large object, almost as though he was like hit by a train. You just see his body and kind of flutter out into a million broken pieces of old skin and bone and organ, and you have dispatched the last one in the train car. So for the moment, you are all out of combat. It would be your turn, Johanna. I need you to make me a spot hidden. What is better for you, spot hidden or listen?
Spot hidden.
Okay, give me a spot hidden.
Man, it sure would be nice to use one of those luck advances that we have stored up.
Go ahead, use one. Yeah, let's go ahead. Everybody do a luck advance. Give me a d6 roll, add it to your luck.
Ooh. All right, so then I only lose 3 by spending 9 instead of...
Okay. I didn't hear you. I'm sorry, Matt.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. I got a success.
Okay, fantastic. You hear. Let me give this one little thing real fast. Oh yeah, that is a 90. You see as you look back toward the window, and you guys heard the pitter patter of feet up top. You see another just flailing whoa as somebody flies off into the gray. So at this point, you hear no other encroaching uh, undead, and you have dealt with all the ones inside the car. Now you are left solely with Mr. Alexis, as he's like 41, 42, as he pushes it around, and he's 43. And as it's going around, you start to feel again that rumble beneath you, and you start to hear the noise as he goes and completes 44. You start to hear that loud rushing as of a train or as of a tempest or a tornado approaching, and you feel the magic uh, kind of start to crackle in the air around you. You smell like something is cutting through, almost the scent of like hot ozone, and maybe a hint of like fresh air, as something starts to kind of flicker and shimmer into life before you as he pushes it around. He starts the 45th circuit, and as you're all doing that, Cleo, are you still holding your barrier, or did you drop it?
She is holding it for now because she, it's like more could come bursting through.
Sure. So he as you all start to feel this, you do go ahead. You don't even need to give me a spot hidden or anything like that. A glimpse of the park in London starts to show through. It's like flickering like in and out against the wall of the compartment where Randolph is. He's like, yes, and he starts to push it. He's pushing the train, and as it starts to complete the 40, it's like 45, and it opens in a flash, and you see the park before you, but it is shimmering, and you feel the train lurching and moving. What do you do?
We need to go.
Can we get out the window, or do we need to go out a door?
No, it's in the compartment with you. The gate opened up, so like the wall just kind of like you hear this noise of like wood caving in, and you see jagged edges around it, and kind of like Matt and Disney when we saw the Runaway Railway and the door opened up the first time we saw it. It was really cool, and it was all jagged like it had blown into. That's what this is like. It's like the gate sucked out all this part of the train, and you have this pathway into this quiet, still park. You can even see the train laying on the ground.
I'm going through.
Okay.
Immediately, just.
Now Randolph stands up and he's like, "Yes! Yes!"
That's when, if anybody's looking at Kelsey, you're gonna see his eyes go flat, and I'm gonna shoot Randolph in the knee, both his knees.
Okay.
And
Go ahead and roll me. You gotta roll me an attack, bud.
Yeah. That's a 10.
And you want to shoot his knees?
I'm shooting him in both knees. Yeah.
Okay.
You want me to roll another attack, or?
What'd you get? You got a success?
I got a 10. That's an extreme success.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead and give me the second one for the second bullet. More because I'm gonna make you roll more dice.
That's an 80, so that's a success.
Jesus Christ, you guys with your
gun
70s
is
and
80.
80s on
Good
guns.
kidding.
Yeah, gun is at
Pulp.
80.
If I'd had guns in the 80s in our old Illuminated Page campaign and Mask of Nyarlathotep, I would have had no other skills.
Right.
I'm pretty confident about that. Jewel Rumtree would have been like, I don't know, I like girls. That would have been about the extent of pew pew pew. And so, but like archaeology, any of that shit? No. But anyway, so yeah, as he starts to leap out, you pop him both in the back of both of his knees, and one of his feet was still kind of touching the ground, and so he kind of just like lurches forward, and part of him is kind of in the door, but part of the better part of him is still on the train. What do you do after you do you then leave him there, or do you just like get off the train and leave him there, or
I get off the train and leave him there, and as I pass him by, I was like, "This is where you deserve to be," and I just jump out.
I'm gonna make sure he stays. He's not coming any part of him back to the real world. We don't need a disembodied leg laying in the park next to us.
100%. Just gonna push him back further in
Okay.
with McCain.
Just like
no, don't, you can't leave me. And what does Cleo? Are you still on the train, or did you jump off?
No, I guess she's still on the train because the last that I said of what she did was barrier.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I guess.
Do any of you call for her?
I guess
Yeah.
she'll drop it.
Cleo,
Get
help!
off!
You know, and get
Okay.
off, and maybe, you know, it's like if he's still there, it's like she'll just kind of kick him back into the train. And
Okay, I was gonna say, yeah, because you see Randolph, he's like, help me, we can do great things, and he like reaches for your leg and he's like, help me, get me off this train. And if you kick him back and push him away, and with determination, he's
She's
just
like, I'm pretty sure
you
you're
think I
possessed."
can't find another way off this train? And
Sure, we don't
yeah.
want to just put him out of his misery.
Did any of you, somebody roll me a dex? Actually, all of you roll me a dex.
Leo also would have grabbed her.
oh, that
Or
is
guns
a-
that she never uses.
that is an extreme success.
I am spending 6 points of luck, so I get a regular success.
You know,
Oh,
it's
no.
honestly, failing is what I want one of you to fail, and it's not going to be bad, I promise.
Okay, then I failed it.
Okay,
I gotta-
as you're running by and you're like, this is what you deserve, you trip over that meaty circuit that I kept talking about with all the organs and everything, and so you kind of like, as you come out, there is just this trail of intestine and organ that like comes out after you, and just as this happens and as Chloe leaves and pushes him back and he says, I will find all of you again, I can do this one more time without you, and you hear glass breaking, and you see clambering in through the windows is more of the passengers from the first carriage, and he's like, stay away from me. And as they then, just before the train disappears, as it starts to pull away, it seems like it pulls away from your vision where you're standing on the grass. As it starts to seemingly pull away and the door starts to close, you see all of those passengers from the first carriages who's left swarm Randolph and say, stay with us. And you see someone like their mouth just come down on his face, and that is the last that you see of Randolph Alexis as the train disappears into the distance and the door that was opened snaps shut.
Shaking my foot, getting the remains of whatever I drug out with me. Kind of like,
Well, I don't want to be in a train for another several months.
I'm gonna walk over to the toy
airplane
train.
it is.
Walk over to the toy train and just start stomping on it.
Okay, fantastic. 1 second, let me see here.
Fraulein
see.
Cleo, is the proper procedure to set it on fire, or is that the wrong thing to do in this situation?
Don't set it on fire.
So what would you recommend?
I mean, I would recommend that we take it somewhere. We find a container that I can either bless or put protection runes on or something like that, and it goes in there and it stays in there.
I was hoping we could office space it, but
We could burn it, but that also could release something that don't intend to release. That can happen.
So yes, are you going to find another way to destroy it?
If stomping it is not working, I'm gonna jump up and like I'm bound and determined to destroy this now. If that means like using my knives to rip up the track, whatever it takes.
Okay.
Screw your toys.
Or I can try to purify it, and then perhaps we.
Not a lot of logic when you have to fight zombies. Sorry. God damn it.
Yeah, actually, just destroying it, it's fine. It crumbles into pieces. It is just metal and wood, and the symbols. Like I said, you understand more about those of you that studied it and got the occult rolls, and even the mechanical repair roll. There was something in the way of the circuit and the symbols etched on it, the order in which they were passed over, and the number of circuits. It obviously didn't feel defined. It was 26, like you said, on the first one. It happened to be 45 on the next one. It's something strange going on there, and just separating those elements from one another. There's no inherent magic in the pieces themselves. It was just the symbols and the pattern that they were creating during the circuit. But you did survive the encounter. Mr. Stanley did not. As far as you know, Mr. Alexis did not. And yeah. Now, what do? Do you go home?
I'm
Do you
Leo
leave the
passes
train
her-
in the park?
I'm
her
walking to the
flask
nearest pub. I want hardcore drinking. I need.
Yeah, mark your bingo cards. Cleo has drank in game multiple times.
Yeah.
I would recommend not going anywhere alone if we are being potentially targeted by people who would do harm to Mr. Smith's allies.
Can't even drink. Fine.
There's a fine selection back at the townhome.
I have
Like she just like shoves her flask against your chest. It's like
Have this.
Take a really long pull off
Nice.
of it.
Nice.
I apologize. I believe I told Olivia that we would be taking the train to the docks.
I'm going to walk to the docks.
Well, honestly, the docks are like an hour train ride away. So like, it's a long ride to the docks.
Whatever. Not getting on a train right now.
Are we planning on leaving today?
Yeah. What's the
what
arrangement?
day is it?
Yeah.
What day is it?
Yeah.
What year is it?
Tuesday,
So it's still
January
Tuesday.
9th.
It's still Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still Tuesday. Yeah, it looks like nothing has really passed. Nobody messed with your train while you guys were away. Wouldn't that have been something if somebody else had turned it on and just
Some
like,
kids just like,
I mean, if I'd have been rolling any better, somebody else would have gotten on that train. But I was rolling pretty shit there for a while, so.
Yay!
Yay! Yeah. I mean, yeah, there were so many rolls where they were supposed to grab y'all that just 95.
I'm good with that.
Someone gets on
if,
Cleo's like, that teaches you to touch something.
yeah, even if I did the pulp rules where they allow me to like double the stats of all the bad guys because you guys are supposed to be super heroic. Most of your stuff is super statted up, so I'm allowed to stat up the bad guys. Even if I'd done that, I was still rolling above anything useful. I was like, well, okay.
So when Cleo turns to the rest of us and goes, and that's why you always leave a note.
Always leave a note.
Or
Yep.
that's why we don't touch you.
Yep. So yeah, so everything you guys, if you prepare to go to the docks tonight to head to Paris, did everybody else pack? I know Johanna took special care to make sure Olivia packed all her things.
I'm assuming Johanna is packing things that she absolutely does not need, and it took far longer than it needed to.
Yeah,
It was way more
you
trunks
do
than it
get
needed
back.
to be.
You do get back to the house, and it's like, wow, that's a lot of stuff. And actually, Olivia is still working on it.
I assume it's much like Princess Vespa in Spaceballs, where it's like it's all matching luggage and it's all has to be on there, and like I've just one giant bag for my blower.
oh, you do not need your summer shoes.
Yeah.
I've got like one. I've got like one suitcase.
Right.
I've been
Did
living out
anybody
of it.
go
Leo
and
has, like,
buy
a
tickets?
satchel.
I assume
Doesn't he-
Olivia.
we
I
had a
guess
snap.
you'll buy. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
we have
So,
people.
yeah. When you
In
do
person.
return to the townhome of Cadbury, your faithful, if droll and rather uncaring butler joins you, and he says, "This came for you while you were away," and he hands you a manila envelope, no seal on it. It looks a little weird, feels a little funny. Something in it isn't.
More skin notes.
you are muted, Matt.
Funny
Maybe
or
that's
like
intentional.
it's heavier than it should be, or funny like, oh, this sure does brim with magic power.
Or
Or
funny
it feels
like
like a finger.
it doesn't feel like paper in there. It's a little too thick and it doesn't crinkle.
It's a skin
Um,
note.
Skin.
I'm gonna open it.
There's a little drip of red on the side.
Yeah, I'm gonna open it.
Yep.
I'm gonna send Cadbury away. Like,
He doesn't
go
need to lose his sanity.
make sure that Olivia has all of my things. I whatever. Just get him out of the room.
Okay, yeah. He of course, sir. And he and walks away.
Sir, sir.
Of course. And then he's like, "Oh, pardon me, ma'am." And he,
Scandalized. And
She's
then
even more offended by
We
ma'am.
pay him for his discretion,
yeah.
his
and
punctual
then
attitude.
I open it and just peer inside, and if it is skin, I will just hand it to Emily.
It is skin. It definitely seems to match the complexion of the note that you received the day before.
I just hand it to Emily. I don't even read it. Just hand it to Emily,
You
and
will
then
want to avert your gazes.
I'll lose my sanity if that's okay.
Okay. Okay.
Leo takes out like
It's
a
only
handkerchief and she's like,
it's a
pull it out
1d3
with
if you fail. You have seen it enough now.
I rolled a 6. Woo!
Nice. Okay, yeah, you're good. You're good.
So, do we all need to roll for sanity, or just?
If you take the time to look at it, but it was brought specifically to Johanna, who then handed it to Emily. So
Ooh, I succeeded.
okay, then you're fine. This
Emily
is
will just
becoming
take it out with a
old news for
handkerchief
y'all.
and
Does it still have like hair like coming out
Yeah.
of the skin?
I feel like I need to roll another sanity roll for that description.
can we
mean,
tell
it
what
is
part of the
definitely-
body it came from? The back.
Somewhere flat.
Probably the back then.
I mean, it's not a big note. It could be a forearm. I will tell you. Well, no, I won't. But yes, as you do this before we sign off tonight, we are going a little over. But yes, as again, you are given a note that repeats the portent from the day before, the skinless one. Well, actually, you can't read it, Emily, but it's in another language. But if you remember that it matches the same text that you saw in the one the day before, then that you Johanna translated as the skinless one.
That was
will
Turkish,
not be,
right?
Yeah, Old Turkish. Yeah, the skinless one will not be denied. And with that, we're going to go ahead and end there tonight. Thank you all for joining us on the Doom Train. Hey guys, I got him on a train. Did you have that on your bingo card? I bet you didn't, because I made them and I don't remember them. that should have been one. Will they get on?
will they
your
get
train?
on any train?
That should be an additional free space that you can then. It's like a wild card. You can apply it anywhere in your row. Just mark it at the bottom. They got on the train. Stamp that dauber and go on. But yeah, so that's our show for tonight. They got on the Doom Train. Everybody survived except for Mr. Stanley and presumably Mr. Alexis. I'm glad you guys kept him on the train. The adventure assumes you're going to take him with you.
Oh God,
And
no.
I
Why?
think that's-
Why? He's
yeah,
a
I think
cannibal.
I think that's stupid. In fact, it says that once he gets off the train and lives, he actually lords that over his wife for being still kind of young and that he survived all this shit. And he's like, ha ha ha. And yeah, he's just an asshole.
Also, I ate Timmy. Nom, 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 nom.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Oh,
if they had been
remember-
alone with him longer, Cleo was gonna like try an exorcism. He fully thought he was a demon.
Nice. Just insane. Just a madman who dabbled in too much shit and then made a really big boo-boo and got stuck in the ghost realm for
And
however
ate
long.
his son.
And ate
She-
his
yeah.
son.
She shows up at the house. Where's my boy?
I don't know what you're talking about. We had a son. No, but thank you all for joining us tonight. I hope you had a good time. I hope combat wasn't too boring and that we kept it moving well enough. Join us next week when it sounds like they're actually going to get on the Orient Express.
Woo!
That's
We're
gonna be the
start-
most.
We're at least
cool.
going to get to. We're at
We
least
have
going
a
to get to France.
Phobia of trains now, so
You know, I wouldn't blame you. I have always wanted to ride on a train.
First night of the Orient Express, we're eating dinner like.
we set
Can you tell me
watches.
where
I
did
feel
you
like
source
none
your
of us
meat?
is gonna touch food on a
What
train.
protein is this?
Oh,
Where did you source this from?
We serve only steak and kidney here.
You're gonna need to specify of what animal.
Wouldn't you like to know?
No.
But
This is just getting worse.
yeah, you guys just aren't you're gonna stick with the chantilly cream and strawberries for
Yeah.
the whole trip. Just give me my strawberries and cream all day. But thank you all for joining us tonight. Thank you, players, for helping me have a good time and tell a story to these fine folks out there in Twitchland. And I believe we'll be back right on schedule next week. Same Cthulhu time, same Cthulhu station for episode 7, where we kind of see where we're going to go from here. Maybe find some information in France. 5 p.m. next week, Illuminated Page. Again, tomorrow night, we have episode 19 of The Voyages of our Star Trek Adventures actual play, hosted by Matt, and having with a special guest, Monica Jarvis, I believe.
Yes.
And that will be at 7 p.m., 4 p.m., or 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Tuesday night, we have By Leaps and Bounties, our 7th C second edition actual play at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Right here, if you want some pirate goodness, and the chat is shipping Alla and I, our characters, not us in real life. No,
Our characters.
our characters. The chat's been very loud about it. And then we have also on Thursday Ninja Crusade at 7 p.m. So if you want some 90s anime ninja show, join us for that one. Other than that, we love you all. Thank you. Be safe. Play more games and stay weird.